Sit down. Everybody remain seated where you are.
Hey, man, so you put me on?
Yeah.
Then why isn't alcohol made illegal? Flowers and grass. Like juice freaks get. Hangers and cirrhosis in the liver. Besides, grass doesn't have it for me like alcohol. Besides, that cigarette much worse. Right, man. As much as you want.
There's nothing wrong with grass. Yeah. 1,000 times. You'll never go to harder drugs.
Don't take any films of me. You're not going to use them anyway. Well, speak your mind then. Okay, I will. No one has the right to tell me what I can do with my own body, what I can eat, drink, or smoke. This is a free country, and no one has the right to take away my constitutional right.
It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. Steve likes the weed. Steve likes the weed. Tell you about DMT. The DMT. Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Hoosiers with the dream. Sophisticated blasphemy. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. So let's set our minds free for the singularity. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary, sentient, artificial intelligence, flora and fauna alike, people with sore anuses and gooches.
Hey, that's me. I got a sore noose and a gooch.
Sore noose and a gooch.
My chode bone is wrecked, bro. Actually,
buddy.
you know what? Nah, it's not so bad.
You're doing all right.
My chode bone's fine now that I don't have a bicycle seat crammed all the way up it.
Yeah, I get it.
But besides that, body's feeling good. Now these quads here, these babies who have been,
They barking? Are they barking?
You know how J-Lo had her ass insured by Lloyd's of London? Is that right? Lloyd's of London?
Well, sure.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
Lloyd's is like, they're one of the ones that would do a lot. I think it's Lloyd's.
Something like
they
that.
would insure like weird things. Yeah.
I took my native hemp CBD, so I feel like I'm firing on all cylinders.
I didn't.
Baby. You're an idiot.
I am an
You're
idiot.
gonna
We
have
got
a
the
terrible
creator
show.
of it here.
You're going to have a terrible show. Pretty much par for the course. But these babies, these quads.
Yeah.
Oh, baby. And I think maybe possibly the worst thing that happened to him, not like God, how many pedals do you think we made? How many rotations? How many revolutions? But sitting in the backseat of a Mini for 5 hours.
Don't talk shit on the Mini, bud.
Craig's got a van. He's got a van we could have slept in the back of.
Just steamroll you and sit
I
in the
know.
front.
Well, he's
every
6'6". He's built like a man.
Not
I'm 5'3". I thought I could actually stretch. I actually could kind of stretch my legs down by Travis.
Oh, you had more room than me, guy.
I'm trying to make it seem like I couldn't stretch out. There were a few times though I was like, where am I? I was like, because dozing in and out, on and off. And it was funny because on a ride home, it's 3 in the morning, probably 2 in the morning. And we've been through hell during the day. And I go, I passed out and I woke up and I was like, hey, Greg, buddy, how you doing? And you're like, getting sleepy. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
All right, what are your thoughts on the Vietnam War? Craig's like, well, you see, the thing is this. I was like, all right, I got 20 minutes out of the guy. See what we got
It really
going.
did help. It was one of those things that, I was leaving it up to you guys whether or not you wanted to stay. Which, shout out to the Kansas City crew. The West Side hospitality
Oh, man.
was great. We're going to break it all down here in a minute. But,
yeah, we are.
But, yeah, it was Steve, what in the hell did you do this weekend, bud?
Okay, for all those tuning in, new first-time viewers, whatever we got going on here, we biked from across the state. We biked from pretty much St. Charles to Pleasant Hill, the entire Katy Trail, and then the Rock Island spur. Spurs all over the place. They'll get you, too. You got to watch out from spurs will jingle, jangle, and the spurs will jingle, jangle. So we did that, but we've been doing stuff like this. If you're just tuning in to Hoosier Sophisticate, kind of our thing is how can we raise money for a good cause and feel good about ourselves after all the hideous shit we've done in our lives, you know? Yeah. So we're just trying to make the community better, stronger, empower people to be better, stronger, show more love, show more empathy, put themselves out there, not feel like they're being judged. Go out there, do something, help somebody, feel the love, feel it. Like that's.
I just got a thing in here. We had some breaking news. I hate to.
Break in. What do we got?
Cannabis sativa L prices are plummeting.
Holy shit, man! Run!
Guys, go to HoosierSophisticate.com, click on the Native Hemp Extract tab right now. Do it. You got 2 weeks to do this, and then you're losing out on this price forever. Okay?
Yeah.
You get $50 delivered to your door. You got to the end of the month.
Oh my God, there's an asteroid coming.
There is. Breaking news.
Get it.
Cannabis sativa L prices legal. Cannabis sativa L is legal, Jack. It's legal, Jack.
I am not a crook.
This is a $150 bottle of CBD and total cannabinoid goodness.
I'm going to move this light, carry the show.
Do what you got to do, babe. I got it. Listen, something that normally costs people about $150, we're talking about 1,800 milligrams, you're going to get it for $50. Delivered to your door.
$150.
$150.
$150, Jack.
U.S. dollar.
Yeah, I've seen people pay that in the stores. And then I've seen them come back for more because they say, oh, crap, this stuff really works really well. I got to tell you what, for all of our cannabis supporters out there, cannabis is a game changer. Like we talk about our guys, Grant Wistrom and Kyle Turley, and I know it's kind of like, oh, they have big money getting into cannabis, and they're kind of each have their own deal. Whatever. I'm talking about football, athletes, and cannabis. I remember seeing a report years and years ago about Israel making all of their soccer players take CBD or even a 1-to-1 ratio because they were worried about concussions with the head balls and stuff, and they knew it was a neuroprotectant. So they were starting to make it mandatory rather than be like, you tested positive for weed, man. Get the hell out of the league. You can't kick a soccer ball around now.
No way, Jack.
No way, Jack. The kids are going to start sticking pipes everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, they'll smoke weed all the time.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, I don't have ambition
I don't know that I
anymore.
want to play soccer
I
anymore.
don't want to play soccer.
Instead,
What
I think
do?
I'm going to develop
shoot
a
people.
drug that's going to save 1 billion people.
Yeah.
But I'm giving up on my soccer dreams.
Watch me do a bicycle kick.
Oh, I landed on my head.
Oh, no.
And now I talk like
This is how I talk.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'll apologize for it tomorrow.
Yeah, we had some stuff. We had some stuff this week too. I'm gonna get into that a little bit.
It's on here. Not all jokes are for all people.
But here's the deal. Before the breaking news, I think we were talking about.
You were telling a story. I'm sorry. Yes, about what we do. All of these things. We had 43 people in here, but it was.
But this weekend we rode bikes. But this goes back to 5-6 years ago now. Even before I even knew you, before the radio show. This is kind of like the start of our little relationship because you kind of heard of Ucky the dwarf through a friend, and they were like, "How do you guys
Very
not
first
know
time
each
I
other?"
ever saw you, I had a Twitter, hadn't logged into it for years, and my buddy's like, "Listen, there's this guy, Ucky the dwarf." Now you know me.
I know you.
I'm a pig, so I'm like, do people know what a cuck is? Like,
I know.
And Joe's like, no, I have no idea. I have no idea what it is. And I'm like, good. Okay. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to go figure out who Ucky the dwarf is. So
and boy, howdy, did you
I
ever.
jump on Periscope. You're sitting, I think, in your folks' backyard or something. around a little fire and you're playing the guitar. You're just singing some tunes.
Oh, nice.
You're cut off jeans, burning heaters, talking about the blues, and then splashing a little acoustic jam here and there. And you were singing about nothing, which was great. It was great.
Nothing,
so
nothing of
that
substance.
was so Cucky obviously was already a thing. I think
He was
I don't know if
not well established.
I don't think you had run yet though.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I hadn't because I broke my arm playing kickball. And here's the origin of Cucky the Dwarf. I know everyone's probably like, Cucky the Dwarf, what the hell is what is a Cucky the Dwarf? A cuckold is someone who watches someone have sex with their wife.
Correct.
Okay, so that is what a cuckold is.
A cuck queen is the female.
Yeah, which that's kind of
it's
all right.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
all
right.
right. So a cuckold or a cuckold, I'm not. I'll take either pronunciation. Could you use that in a sentence, please? I feel like I'm at the spelling bee. Darren Atkins, Peoria Plowboy. He was on this show that was the morning
6
after.
to 7?
No. Well, it's 7 to 10. And it was a real big show, and it was hard to get your emails read because at the end of every day, you'd have this. They'd have this competition, and I assumed they had some sort of writers on staff because some of them were so damn good. I'm like, oh, they got somebody just pumping these things out. Well, I get to know Peoria Plowboy, Darren Atkins, and actually, I started to listen to his show 6 to 7 in the morning, and they would talk about the dumbest shit. They talk about like Disney princesses, WNBA, and I'm like, this is right up my alley here. And so one day I get on there and they're talking about Disney princesses, and I said, "What's going on?"
You're good.
Okay. I said, "You know what? Hey," they go, "What's your name, caller?" Or when I did the wrote into there, and I said, "Oh, I'm the 8th dwarf, Cucky the Dwarf. I like to sit at the end of Snow White's bed and watch her and the prince, perform coitus." And so
I've heard this story 100 times. That will never not make me laugh.
so that was my
We've done
shtick.
the Disney princesses thing.
And everyone thought I was like maybe this actual dwarf character. Like no one knew. There was a mystique because I had a job. Sure. The shit I was saying in these emails after when I started to write that in. And then they saved my name as Cucky the Dwarf. I had a bunch of other names I liked, like George Michael's Dippin' Dot Stan.
Oh, dude, I've had great
I
names.
love.
They
had
pass
great names.
They
I
pass
know.
on all
It's
the good
weird
ones.
what people like. It's weird what Boo Radley's crippling social anxiety that caught fire.
Yeah,
that
it
caught a
took
little
off.
fire for a little while.
Took off. He's a little too perverse though.
You think? That's not a thing. So
I was also. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, holster that one for a minute. All right. So that kind of caught fire. I started writing these emails, and actually, McKernan was a big influence. The way he would read the emails, the way he would deliver them, and he was like, "This guy's a top prospect. He's got blue feet. Watch out for Cucky the Dwarf." So there was a bunch of things that went on. I had a good little run where I got a little bit of notoriety in this community, the TMA community. And so that was really cool. A lot of our fans for Hoosier Sophisticate are from that era, and then we got a show on that radio station. But I broke my wrist playing kickball and had a lot of time on my hands. I was a carpenter, couldn't really swing a hammer that well. So I had some time off, and the Blues were in the playoffs. Well, I went down there actually on my first anniversary. Went down to the radio station in a little half shirt. I'm a big Jim Edmonds guy.
Sure.
And Jim Edmonds, we used to walk around in that shirt that was like that. And I'm like, that is funny to me.
Yeah, I'm a big Rick Ankiel guy. That's why I make out with Kiko Calero all the time.
Damn right. So this shirt, I'm like, this is great. So I went outside. I made like a sign with glitter on it. And free Dodo was a big thing. I go out there, I stand out in the corner. Guys were coming up to me and be like, "What's up?" And one guy's like, "You're going to get arrested out here doing this."
Soliciting.
And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Soliciting." I'm like, "I'm not selling anything." And I'm like, "Oh, this is the equivalent of he dressed like he's asking for it. He dressed like that. He asked for it. You know what I mean?"
Jesus.
I'm taking this I'm making a stand right here.
Yeah.
Okay, liberation of people.
Yeah.
People should be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They should wear whatever they want without people having to
Absolutely.
judge them.
Absolutely.
So, anywho.
If you could batter your anus, you could certainly sell it.
100%. I think like that's one of the problems. We want to get into sex workers segment. This segment.
Oh, go to the second hour.
So we'll get into the second hour. It's a whole deal. But so then that was kind of like, what the hell is going on? But it got some social media recognition. They were taking pictures outside of the studio because I was outside of the studio, and there's a glass pane, so I was calling in. So it became this whole thing. So it became this thing. I got some money donated for just every mile I jogged. I said I'm going to jog for the St. Louis Blues. It was Game 7, Chicago Blackhawks, my first anniversary. I jog down from the radio station on Hampton and go all the way down to the, you know what I'll do? So I go all the way down to the studio, from the studio to the arena, and don't think anyone's paying attention. The only people who drove by me were my wife and kids, and they were like, "Yay!" And I was on a Facebook Live. I'm like, "Well, there goes some fans of Cookie the Dwarf. There they go." So that was pretty sweet. No one paid any attention. One guy on the TMA page donated $10 for every mile that I ran. And I was like, oh, my God, people will donate money to a charity because of that. I got you, baby. And I was like, whoa, that's wild. So that sparked a brainchild to start doing that more and more. We did it for the Hamilton family. We did it for, there's some native hemp. We've just tried to... It was my idea that this is something that everybody can kind of get on board with. Just some knucklehead in rollerblades,
raising money for the community,
jean shorts, yes,
and rallying behind something that we all love.
Yeah, man, just doing something.
It got me
ridiculous
into the blues. People have tried to get me into the blues for 36 years, almost 36. 36 next week. Well, Friday.
Nobody
cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. But I'm gonna be 36. If you want to send, you can send any kind of
Venmo
cards. Yeah, Cash App, Craig A. Kohler, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, it got me into it.
Yeah,
I've been calls. On board. I've been on board.
I
will always call hockey like soccer.
You got to.
You got to.
People really appreciate it.
I forgot all about it because it was just natural to me. Someone was like, "That's one of my favorite memories of the playoffs." I'm like,
what happened?
That's how you call goals.
We broadcasted the games in our own voices online for people so they could sync up the game and our voices.
Rhino Rally coming down. No.
And I love, like, I'd really be over explaining things to you during our calls, and I'm like, that's called dumping the puck in, Craig, and you'd be like, oh yeah, just kind of playing along with it, and then when we score, I'd be like, yeah, and you're like, yeah, kind of like, I know what's going on, go. I know what time it is to get everybody excited about something.
You can't get juiced up about a good little Spanish goal announcement. So the point is, Steve, is that you sell your body out to raise money for the community.
That's it.
This time, you were a fucking madman. I'll say it. I'll say the bad word. You were a fucking madman. Okay?
Say it again, man.
One more time. You were an absolute fucking madman. 268.4 miles, I think. Is that what it was? It was right around 270. I guess right there.
Give or take a little bit because we had some, made some
you
wrong turns, got
trail
driven.
Closure. You went backwards a couple of times.
Yep.
So, I mean, really,
but anything, we also got moved ahead.
People paid to move you ahead, but it wasn't a bunch.
No, it was
12 miles.
Yeah, maybe.
Because we had to go into Boonville. It was basically a stop.
Yeah.
It was one stop.
But there are some stops out there. The stops along the trail are anywher from like 7 to 15. So yeah. It was pretty much the average.
It was pretty interesting tracking you guys because most of them were like 10 to 12. Some of them were like just under 10, and then that last one was 17 and a half. And I'm like, nowhere to stop in between.
Nowhere.
So, not to when you said you were going to do this, and you kind of mentioned it before you were going on vacation. In passing, out of sight, out of mind.
Shit does.
You come back from Florida. I've been missing you. I come by, I drop some
Stupid.
stuff off here at the house. I can't wait. Missy's like, you go running back into Steve's arms. You know, my creative juices, they've been spilling over here, okay? And I haven't had anybody to spill them on, okay? And
spill them on me.
yes, I will.
All over
I'll
me.
spill them all over you.
Thank
I'll
you.
dump them right on your face.
We're friends.
Yes. So anyway, you know, you were like, hey, so
You gonna do this?
St. Charles to Kansas City, and I go,
We doing it?
yeah, what about it? Are we doing it? And I'm like, do I think you can do it? Yeah, sure, probably you can do it. I can't do it. I have no ligaments in my knee. I have
You've
no
destroyed
desire.
your body for
I
this
have
show
no
already.
desire.
So many
dude.
times.
I just ate a scorpion pepper. What do you want from
Yeah,
me,
you've
bud?
destroyed yourself so many times. He destroyed his chode on 22.
Yeah, it was 22.
He was
I
going to
drank-
ride a bike,
my kid's bike.
a child's bike, 22 miles after texting me at 5:15, still being up from the night before.
I was going hard. We were playing some Circle of
And he's
Death.
like, yeah, man, we're going to bike this baby. He gets there
I
in the
was
morning, I'm
about
like,
four-
that's the bike?
I was about 42 natty lights deep, and I'm like, hey, bud,
Hey,
you ready
bud.
to rock this? Ready to rock this thing? I got my kid's bike, and we got the bike. We get to the skate park where we're going to take off. I pedal twice. My knee cracks the handlebars both times. Right
He's not
knee,
gonna
left
do
knee,
it.
and I go, oh,
Not going to happen.
I don't have 22 miles in this bike.
Nope, there's no way.
Make a phone call to a friend. It's weird how our friends are always so happy to, like, what are
I
they, sadists?
know, dude.
So I end up getting a Trek, and I'm riding this thing. You're rollerblading. You're rollerblading 22 miles. You haven't rollerbladed in 10, 15 years. Same story. Okay. So except this time, instead of 22 miles, which is a fucking crazy amount, I'm like, dude, it's just under a marathon. You're gonna rollerblade a marathon, no training, no nothing. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna rollerblade. Fuck, it's gonna be fine. I'm like, well, I'll ride a bike with you, I guess. You know, I'm in wearing fucking tight jeans. Like, this is Florida Georgia line jeans, city county line jeans. I've been drinking all night. I haven't eaten. I was on my fucking no carb kick at the time. Haven't eaten a carb in fucking 2 weeks. We get about fucking 6 miles into this thing, and I'm like,
I'm looking so good.
oh, bud, we got a long way to go, huh? Yeah. And you're like, it's fucking, we got a long way to go.
Backwards
Like,
skating.
backwards. I'm like, all right, well, you know, and it was fine. It was actually a lot of fun. Made a lot of memories, feeding
it
each
was
other
good.
fruit, showing people how to eat the proper way to eat a plum.
the
You know, and a
proper way
banana.
to eat a
You know,
plum.
proper way to eat a banana.
That was delicious.
One bite banana. You got to eat bananas in one bite. That's the deal.
If you can't,
Move
you're
on,
a
Jack.
pussy.
Yeah, you just move on, Jack. I just got really nervous
if you
about
can.
whether or not our commercial break is in that download folder too. But anyway,
Did we not try it?
I don't think we did. That's all right. We're not
We'll
going to go
play
to it
some-
now. We'll
we'll play
figure it out in a
some
minute.
else.
We'll
Yeah,
figure it out. We'll figure it out. I'll jump over there behind the concrete. Keep going. Anyway, so you're doing this. You've been doing this for years. You ran in fucking construction work boots, cut off shorts, in the cold, in the hot. I mean, in the elements. You've done this thing. I do it with you on the bike. This one is different.
Yeah.
First, you think you're going to rollerblade across the state.
I thought I was gonna roller.
How do you think you would have done? You think you could have? What do you think? You think that would have been?
Oh, flat ground and a paved trail like the
You've
Katy
been okay.
Trail. Oh, I would have fucking ate her for breakfast.
Right.
My body wouldn't be the way it is now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Your
I
feet
say
might
that.
be fucked though
I
too,
say-
because
that's the thing.
the last time you did
well,
it,
I was wearing Adam Bundren size 7s.
Oh.
He's got like feet
a
like
little
this.
fucking,
like a little
was he
baby
behind his feet like a little Chinese lady.
Yeah, he does. I remember that documentary, dude. That's crazy.
I'll apologize to
But,
Mom. Anyway,
to Adam.
no, to the Chinese people that bind their feet.
Why?
Because
That's a fact that happens.
well, so is Sacagawea.
Okay. But yeah, so I had to wear Adam Bundren's roller. And shout out to Michael Farquhar.
Yeah.
Farquhar.
Yeah,
he let us borrow those rollerblades. I didn't need them, but I am going to rollerblade with my son.
That was
in
the
them.
day that I got my car. So it was
Yeah.
kind of cool because it was an opportunity for me and Trev and Miss to go for a little road trip before they jumped back in their car and we drove back. Still got back at like 3:30 in the morning. Or whatever. It was fine though. It was great. Mike Forker's got a nice little setup. That's the whole thing. Is the state kind of came together to make this happen. Why is this guy? He didn't know. He doesn't know what time it is.
Oh,
jeez.
Christ.
Okay, we won't read that one. I was gonna.
Yeah, no.
gonna read his
Can't-
text on there, but I
no,
won't do
can't
that.
do that. Brian Kessler, heart of gold, man. He said he's waiting for his food right now.
Waiting for his food to be delivered.
So it was so funny. Our buddy Dennison is here too, and he had to wake me up out of a slumber because God love her, my wife thought I was dead.
Oh yeah, she called me frantic too.
And I'm the same way. I get it from my mom. And so Dennison's like, "Are you alive, man?" And I'm like, I could hear him knocking. He goes, "Housekeeping?" That whole thing.
You want men for the pillow?
And I'm like, "Oh, cool, Dennison's here." And he goes, "Your wife, she's worried about you." And I was like, "Oh no!" You know, when you wake up, you're like, "What time is it? What day is it?" I was like, "Honey, maybe I fell asleep.
Yeah.
I just biked across the state, hun, bun."
Yeah. A little tired, babe.
So I'm alive and well, but I called Brian before the show, and I was like, and all of our conversations have been like, "Hey, man, hey." He's like, "Hey, man, what's hey?" You know, it's just very like, "Oh, cool, you coming over later?" Yeah, waiting for some food to be chewed up and spit in my mouth real
little
quick.
robin feeding.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be over in a little bit. But yeah, Brian's.
So this is the most roundabout way, 30-minute intro into what happened. So you guys decide. Brian says, "I'm going to do it with you."
Yeah.
And so to kind of give them an idea, you're like, it's always kind of been for, a sick family member or something like that, somebody in the community. And this time, fucking cities are on fire. There's a mad division between what I would say our primary I don't know. Our demographics really...
It's all over the place.
It's a melting pot for sure, But
a couple Brazilians in there because I put an ad.
What we talk about, we talk about cannabis and psychedelics often.
Yeah.
That means that a lot of the people that we resonate with are often at odds with law enforcement. And so, when some horrific police tactics are taking place, the country's boiling over. We've been locked up inside for months. People are looking for an outlet for this fucking pent-up anger and angst and anxiety that just living everyday life probably gives you the opportunity to kind of have a little release valve, whether that's a little road rage, whether that's whatever, something where you can scream into the fucking void about all the things that are driving you nuts. You've been locked up inside for months and months. And the George Floyd thing hits, and it just starts popping off everywhere. And then people are like, it gives them an opportunity to be like, yeah, well, let's not forget about all these other ones that haven't been resolved.
Yeah.
And so there are very real concerns with the division between the law enforcement community and just the community that serves, primarily, low income minority communities, specifically. We try to engage in this discussion because it can be, it's a tough thing to talk about. It's especially tough for a couple of middle 30 white guys to talk about and not feel a little fucking, because I know I have a hard time with it. Like, just as much as I have a hard time with these people that are offended for sport and are also like these like apologists for sport, and I'm like, it's so patronizing. Like, it doesn't come off as genuine. Like, there's no real action behind what you're doing. You're just being a coward is what you're doing at this moment. And so it's like, but you want to do something that actually is drawing attention to the good that can be. And so it's like, okay, well, we kind of, because of what we talk about, sometimes we are at odds with law enforcement, and we don't understand why we're asking fucking people to throw other people in cages. There's a Joe Rogan podcast right now I'm listening to. I'll probably use it as my streaming pick just because I didn't get a chance to watch much TV this week. We should have listened to it last night on the way home. Yeah. Dude, it's heartbreaking. Rogan's in tears. It's two guys talking about the criminal justice system and just kind of the, people that are wrongfully convicted and on death row for things that have easily, somebody in prison's already confessed to killing the people that they're on death row for killing. And just like, and none of the evidence checks out, and like, just, it's crazy.
Dude, our criminal justice system is
insane. It needs work. It needs
it's
big
just
work.
A system now. It's like
but at the same
making
time,
auto parts now.
I was listening to a little bit of the Gospel of Luke today because my car is crazy and just plays random shit on my phone sometimes. And it was this part of the deal where it was like, you know, growing up in the city, it was like, I'm going to do everything I can to learn how to hit 380 so that I can finally write a check one day to pull my family out of this. And if I don't make it, well, then I can be a cop or a carpenter.
Yeah.
Or I'll work at the family business.
Yeah.
You know, that's those are my options. That's as big as we dream around here. This is what we all do. So, because that's so prevalent within our community, we know dudes that we would go to battle with that chose to serve the community, that chose to police the community, that are collecting a paycheck, are find themselves in a hierarchy where they have to uphold certain things. Whether or not they believe in them or not is irrelevant. Yeah. The problem is that sometimes something as innocuous as writing a ticket could fucking ruin somebody's whole month. It could set them back for a whole month. Like, people don't have an expendable $150 just laying around. We talk about it all the time. More so than that, sometimes an arrest for something that someone's not guilty of puts them in a courtroom where they then get convicted for something that tears a family apart, puts that person away in a cage.
And there's very few people who care about you at that point, unless you got like a...
You got to have some Samaritans like Christina Frommer, Chris Smith, the Can of Convict Project.
No,
you better have some people, some guardian angels.
Alone in that system after that.
100%.
Yeah, no,
so
you're dead on, man.
Removing some of these obstacles, saying, hey, look, we care about you. We care about you so much that we don't want families left behind when somebody goes down truly defending good, like being on the side of good, because there are still, even though the conversation's nuanced, there is still good versus evil, and a lot of times people on the good side get, more times than not, people on the good side get killed by people on the bad side. Unlawfully. That's not how it's ever portrayed.
No, I always think, take 10 people in a room, 9 of them are the most peaceful people in the world, 1 is the most violent MFer you ever met. You put 1 gun in there, who's probably going to come out, the one violent guy with the 10 gun or 10 rounds or whatever. It's like, what a weird, it's kind of a weird thing to think of. And I'll tell you what kind of spurred it was I had an interesting little experience with my son Ivan. We were at actually the Kessler's house. And, Kessler's a fireman. Angie's dad is a cop. We got all ties, like you said, it's the neighborhood, baby. Like we got ties everywhere. We got players on both teams we like. Mm-hmm. And I bitch about this cop probably more than I should, but on Gravois,
I know exactly what you're talking about, Loughborough and Gravois.
And his whole modus operandi is to pull people over. And right there, it's not exactly Ladue or Frontenac where they poop on $250. These people are, I assume, I used to live down there. I know my parents were scraping money together, working 2 jobs to try to get some groceries, and a $250 ticket is going to ruin them or take away a vacation or piss off the family and cause some shitty situation that doesn't need to happen. So I found myself on the way to dropping my kids off at the babysitters that I would sometimes be like, God, look at this fucking guy again. Again, he's fucking sitting there just like, come on, dude. Aren't there better things you could be doing than sitting? Because he would have different people pulled over on my way there and on my way back, and he'd be sitting there every morning,
just collecting revenue.
And I asked the guy at the gas station, I'm like, what's up with that? And he goes, he gets about 5 to 15 people every morning here. And I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. It's a 30. It goes from like 35 to 30 right there. And if you're going 32, he's gonna get you. Well, Ivan, who's 5 years old, we were talking about somehow police and firemen got brought up. And I think, one of maybe even Brian's kids was like, I want to be a policeman or I want to be a fireman. And Ivan was like, there's this cop who sits on Gravois every morning just revenue collecting. And I'm like,
Ivan said that?
Oh my God, Ivan. I'm getting him away from the situation. But I'm like so proud of him, but also like, no. I don't need to be doing that. That's not the message I need to be sending this 5-year-old. There are way better messages I need to be talking about the police than that. That is one small... Actually, I think it's a big portion of people... I find myself that the worst thing I'm kind of worried about is them ruin, like I might not be able to go on vacation if I get a real bad speeding ticket, you know, like that's a weekend at Branson that I just, you know, and time and effort and like, oh, I forgot my court date or my car died. Now I got a warrant out for my arrest. It's like, this is all this crazy shit that can happen for going a little bit over the speed limit.
Yeah.
And so after going through all that, we talk about psychedelics all the time on the show too, and trauma. That's one thing we've learned over the years. A lot of people, their pain comes from trauma that is just trying to get out in different ways. How am I getting pissed off at people over my trauma? Am I medicating too much with whatever substance, trying to get my mind elsewhere? What am I doing to get rid of this trauma that I'm holding on to? And I think that a lot of our police officers, first responders, and a lot of our people, our brothers and sisters, who the police officers are brothers and sisters too, they grow up in a shitty situation when they're a kid. Like you see these kids, they're 3 and 4 years old, and their parents are victims probably of the system, but victims of also their own terrible choices. There's a mix there going on. Both are true at the exact same time. The system is rigged, but also you got to start making some better decisions. It goes both ways. But you get these kids who are, we've learned it with PTSD, the hypersensitivity, being hyper aware, hyper vigilant, just putting all of these things together. And even as a kid who grew up in a little bit of a tumultuous childhood, I learned from a Aubrey Marcus podcast of a tracker that you become a tracker when you've gone through trauma as a kid. You learn how your parents open the door. You learn how they drop the keys on the table. You're picking up every sign to see what is my night going to be like here. Is it going to be tough? Are they in a good mood? Are they in a bad
doors? Are they walking
exactly.
heavy? Yeah.
Total. Every one of those. I still get anxiety if I hear like someone walking around that sounds angry above me down here, and I'm like, whoa, that's a weird deal. Like it's just something that snaps, and that's the littlest end of that spectrum. Yeah. Then we talk about psychedelics, and I think the stuff that our police officers and first responders have to see, I mean, I couldn't imagine some of the horrible things they have to see on the road with just death, with violence, people being horrible to each other. I was like crying today watching things where people weren't like being completely kind to each other because being in this bubble this weekend of love and everyone being proud and all of that, I was in a bubble and I was so tired.
I popped the fuck out of that bubble, man. I know.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right.
Well, no, I mean,
we'll get into that.
It's not. I mean, I've been wearing it. Go ahead.
I hear you. But living in that bubble, I was so happy. And yeah, that was kind of like, I was wearing that on the trail. I was wearing it big time. I was like, man, I'm a fucking jackal to a certain extent. I know I am. But guess what? I am going to fuck up sometimes.
Yeah, that's right.
I am going to make mistakes. And even if I don't make a huge mistake, as long as I am not constantly, but always trying to get better. I'm always trying to look at what's going on, check my blind side. Because a lot of things in my past I know I've said, and I said, oh, yeah, no, that's cool. And I look back on it and I'm like, oh, you idiot. Like saying the F word in high school, now I won't even say it.
Right.
And in high school, I said it 1,000 million. If you didn't get called that 40 times a day, you didn't have friends at an all-boys school. Like, that's what 100%. You called your buddies, which is so amazing to me now. So I'm always willing to grow, learn, love. I'll put that on a plaque or something. So the trauma that police officers and our first responders go through, and the trauma that happens in our communities.
Over-policed communities?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's so much in common there.
No doubt.
That when I started to complain
that fear
about that
is the ultimate motivator.
Yes.
Yeah.
That when I just started to think of this idea, I was like, what can I do? I have a shitty instinct towards this one police officer. What can I do to make myself better? Raise money for Backstoppers, raise money for their families, because I know their kids and wives, and they have nothing. They don't deserve any of the bullshit that happens. And, you know, we all make our decisions. So when you sign up for a job to be a police officer, that's one thing. You probably know you're going to have to deal with some bullshit. And I think a lot of them go in going, I'm going to fucking save lives every day. And then they're like, you got to bring in somebody today, bud. Yeah. Just so you know, we got shit we got to do. Even on that immigrant
you got
thing.
budgets. You have
the boss on that ICE documentary was like, hey, you got to bring 2 people in today. I don't care what you do. And the guy even goes, he knew the camera crew was with me, right? And they go, yeah. And he goes, well, that was a fucking dumb thing to say. And I'm like, no, that's how our criminal justice system works. Yeah. And the only way I'm going to get a pulpit or a voice or have something is to destroy my chode for these people. Yeah. You know, let them know that I care about them. I'm going to bike across the state. I don't agree with, I would never be a policeman. You know, I have it in me to be like, oh, yeah. In my mind, if the way policing works, I'd be like, that would be great. But I know that's not how it works, man.
I'm wired the other way. So it's interesting you say that because I'm wired the other way. I've always been like, I'm not a criminal. I've never been a criminal. But I've always kind of wanted to hang with the outlaws.
Yeah. I mean, I love that too.
I've always wanted to just hang with the guys that were like, hey, I'm here to live my life. I'm not going to hurt anybody else. There's not going to be, but you're not going to tell me what I can do. I'm only afforded.
There's a divide there
I'm
between
only
outlaw
afforded so much time, and there are
people who are like, I'm going to fucking murder. Well, people,
and there are people. Yeah, there's a difference.
That's why the over policing. Yes,
criminals outwardly affect other people. There are victims of that crime.
Yes,
outlaws just say, no, you're not going to fucking put your
sleep
thumb
in a park
on me
overnight.
Yeah. I'm going to sleep under the stars. Yeah. I'm going to smoke this leaf.
Yes.
I'm going to swallow this thing that I want. You know, that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, I'm going to experiment with my consciousness.
Yes.
I'm going to drive a little bit faster on this road with no cars in it.
Yep.
You know, that's what an outlaw is. A criminal is actively having, acts of violence towards someone else.
Yeah.
Now, that's not necessarily physical violence. It could be someone like Bernie Madoff. That's an act of violence against somebody to rip off their whole life savings. Like those things. But when we're talking about, somebody that just wants to live free, there are people who are like, yeah, but you can't live free.
I know.
It's dangerous for you to live free.
Yeah.
It's so dangerous for you to be free that I'm going to throw you in a cage to make sure that you don't hurt yourself. That's how dangerous it is. I'm going to take away your life as you know it to save your life. Yeah. And this is this thing that we're going back to that. We're going to eventually get to the bike ride. I think Brian's en route, right? So, but that's how we all got here, right? Like you were like, okay, how do we bridge this gap? Because we got people on our page, people that we love. Our buddy John Bach put a post out there, and everybody started, the whole fuck the police gang came out there, and they started doing the thing. And God, I'm so happy that it was John that did it, because John's a fucking big boy, knows how to handle himself, puts his money where his mouth is more than anybody I know, is actively changing the community in positive ways all the time. So we're realizing that people that we love on both sides are getting, you and I are the same person like that. In the sense that we're a little bit of click jumpers. We have friends that are athletes. In Kickapoo, it was like they were athletes, scrubs, mathletes or whatever, and you go theater kids.
Yeah.
You got all those different cliques. And for me, like my superpower has always been just kind of being a chameleon, fitting in where I fit in.
Damn right.
And I think that's yours as well. I think that the two of us can walk into any room and make people feel comfortable about our presence.
Yeah.
But we also do it while being true to ourselves. So sometimes we're gonna say some shit that might be a little off color, and it's gonna piss some people off. It might piss you off.
That's the way my brain works. It's just fucking warped like that shit.
And then that's where our similarities kind of go different directions, because you realize that you might have offended someone, and your first reaction is like, "Fuck, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
And I'm like, he doesn't owe you shit. Nobody owes you anything. Don't dump your fucking emotional garbage in my living room and tell me to pick it up. Figure out your own shit. And why do words fucking affect you in that way? Why has nobody taught you how to fucking deal with your shit so that a bunch of letters just crunch together that make noises coming out of his mouth physically hurt you, that's not about him. That's about you. You can project it onto him.
Yeah.
And so that's where you and I are different, because you're like, it's also just as easy for me to say, hey, I'm sorry. I really am. I wasn't thinking about it. My wife said it maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. You said a joke in front of your mother-in-law, and Missy looked at me, she goes, oh, fuck. You're hearing it for the first time, too. Like, you're saying it, you're hearing it for the same time that we are hearing it.
Yeah.
You didn't think this out. Like,
No.
that's a loaded gun when you do what we do, And me, I'm so radically fucking free speech that I'm like, you can apologize for it.
I just hope my heart is pure enough.
Your heart is pure enough. And the people that know you and they see the actions, and also, I've also got this thing where I'm a ride or die guy. I expect ride or die people in my corner, and I am too. And for the most part, I'm usually like, oh, okay, let's see how we can smooth this out between everybody. I'm the guy when my drunk buddy's about to get in a fight at the bar, I grab the guy he's about to fight and say, hey, bud, let me buy you a shot real quick. If after we take the shot, you still want to go punch it out, we'll go punch it out. But let's see if there's a better path.
Let me give you a little kiss.
Yeah, typically, yeah. One time I did really emasculate this cat. Oh, it's all right.
Oh, no, we'll save that for the Patreon.
If you want to go Patreon, Hoosier Sophisticate, you guys can check it out. I'll tell you a story about this one time I emasculated this guy for talking down to my buddy's wife. Anyway, so...
no, how it happened in my little timeline was I'm exhausted.
I
forgot
don't know if you
about
wanted
it.
to get in on this, but yeah.
I will, and I get a message from a fan, and they're like, man, you kind of disappointed me, but it was very like, I demand this from you. How dare you, and I demand this
Well, you don't get to make that demand. Go fuck yourself.
And so immediately I am, my there's a burr in my saddle immediately, I'm like, ooh, God. Yeah. But I'm also tired, and I'm like, you know what, let me think about this for a second. I could have... in my head, I don't remember exactly how I said things, so I'm like, maybe it was a shitty joke. And I'm like, dude,
it wasn't.
I'm the first guy to be like, Native Americans have been fucking shit
100%. On the radio 2 years ago, we did a whole Standing Rock fucking...
I had a whole expose on that shit, because I love that culture. We are so lost without our fucking history
100%.
On this land. Seeing the land from the Katy Trail, all I could think about was the Native Americans being like, dude, bring a couple Native American broads out to this mountaintop here, like some gals from a neighboring tribe, and you're like, hey, check out this rock overlooks the Missouri. We were in it. Brian and I talked about, we're like, we should do the Trail of Tears, like walk that, bring awareness to that, because it is shitty what has happened to the natives of this land, the indigenous peoples of this land. So I get that message, and I'm like, fuck it, man. Okay, get that anger out of here. You probably did fuck up a little bit. My way of acting is I fucked up. Now I am mad about it, because I'm kind of mad at myself, but also mad at someone else for calling me out when I did something wrong.
You just misstepped, and after 140 miles of biking,
yeah,
you're
and
exhausted.
that's no excuse. I don't even use that excuse.
It's
That's
not.
fine. I appreciate people saying that, but I don't use that as an excuse. I'm always in control of what I'm doing, pretty much, unless I'm hammered drunk, and then I'm out in the woods. That's why I have to get woods drunk. I don't get city drunk anymore. So I get this message, and I'm like, fuck, pissed off. Well, then I'm like, okay, start the day. You're doing something for Backstoppers. Move on from this, but it's weighing on me, and everybody's saying how proud they are, and that's what I always think about, how fickle the masses are, really, because we got real family community. That's why we really didn't want to grow this page too much too quick, because it would have been monetizable a lot earlier, easier. But we were like, no, the way this organic growth is, we're getting really solid people. And because
a solid exchange of ideas.
Yes.
Like it's not an echo chamber. There are people that are representing a lot of different trains
and we can
of
have
thought.
Conversations. Like, that's the deal. We can't have conversations anymore.
Yes.
And that's what it was. I wish I would have been messaged. I said, oh, shit, that was kind of bullshit. Because in the moment, it was gone from my memory. Totally. I had forgot about it, which I'm like, oh, shit. So when I got the message, I was like, oh, okay, be better. And even my wife was like, you're raising money for people. Maybe you shouldn't go full fucking Cucky the Dwarf on anybody. And I'm like, that's probably a pretty good point, too. But I don't want to. Cucky the Dwarf is Steve Elgin. Like, who I was living as working at Mosby and not being able to tell my jokes and tales. Sure. Like, this is who I am now. I feel so good. And now learning that you know, I said it online today. I'm just trying to make the walk home a little sweeter for myself and everybody around me. Because, you know, as a Ram Dass talk about,
we're all just walking each other home.
We're all just walking each other home, and I just want to be like, hey, guess what? I planted that rose bush. Let's go walk by it on our way home, and we can smell it for a minute and be like, yeah, I did that. I fucking did that. That's cool. Like, and now everyone gets to enjoy this little thing, and everybody else is planting stuff now too. Look at us. We've grown a whole forest of shit we can walk through this trail. Holy God. So, but the whole thing, the way it went online, it was eating me up that people were being mean to this person. It was tearing me up. Like, and I know people are backing me, and I appreciate that. I just get bummed when people are mean to each other. I'm a empath or whatever, you know, in that way, where I'm like, oh, I feel that pain. But also, I know people step in shit sometimes.
Yeah. If you can't say you're sorry, then what's the point? Then you have no incentive to grow or change as a person if you have no way to atone for your sins. Straight up. If you can't say I'm sorry and mean it, because you did.
Yes. I meant it. I'm still feeling like I did this awesome thing, and there's one little thing where I'm like, but I'm not perfect.
And then here's where I'm coming.
I'm not perfect.
Here's where I'm coming on. I'm not riding a bike, but I'm fucking exhausted. I'm tired.
Oh, yeah. You had to do more thinking.
I'm going
than
back
us.
and forth.
We had to do this.
I'm going back and forth.
Craig's like, okay, I'll meet you here. You got seven miles here. I got you some gel bars. This place is closed. I got to go over to this place. Okay, where are you guys at now? Okay, your last marker went out because our phones would get under 15. Then he couldn't find us. And then we're like, we're at the trailhead. He's like, well, Google Maps, I was 4 minutes away. Now I'm 47 minutes away. I don't know how it's
Steve's like, well, fuck, I'm the one riding
the bike, and hung up.
He hangs up on me. It's fine.
And Brian and I are like,
we're all a little short. We're sleeping on garbage, fucking, whatever. It's fine. Somebody wants to take offense to something you said, also fine.
Yeah.
Time and place. Time and a place. If I'm going to correct somebody, time and place. I reject cancel culture. I don't care.
Yeah, that's shitty now, man.
I reject cancel culture. You want to tell me how life works? No, that's how your life works.
Yep.
I reject what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'll give you the space to say it, but you're not going to do it here because here we're doing something else.
Yeah.
If you'd like, take you out to eat. I'll apologize to you. We'll figure something out. Tell you what. Give me a Native American charity or something.
That's what I already was looking up. I was already looking it up today. So that's the good things that came out.
I spend more
good
time.
Good shit came out of it.
I spend more time with indigenous healers, and these are people. These are cultures that I'm very invested in.
Yeah.
Not fucking stories, and not how that makes you feel because you might have something that somehow connects you to somebody hundreds of years ago. No. I'm trying to be connected with these people now as they live now. Do not tell me my intentions. Do not tell my buddy his intentions as he's being broken. That's where I was at.
Yeah.
I was a little hot.
You're a little hot now, baby.
Well, here's the problem. Is this is our thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
If one of us takes a position, a passionate position, typically there's a few people that are going to get in the line. I'm not necessarily sorry for saying, hey, not here, not now.
Yeah.
And I didn't say it that easily.
No.
I'm not sorry for saying that. I'm not sorry for shutting that shit down as it was happening. I am sorry for how I carried myself later. I am sorry because I was so loose with my tongue, because I was so free with my tongue, people just thought it was going to be a free-for-all.
Yeah.
I hate piling on.
I hate
And I hate to be the person that might have started that. So I am sorry for that. And more than anything, I'm sorry to myself. Because
the fuck?
Yeah, I'm sorry to myself.
Jesus.
I'm sorry because I acted in discordance of how I want to, or who I want to be.
Getting better, baby.
And
that's how you do it.
I certainly don't want anybody to feel lesser than.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to let them fucking bang a drum in my fucking face.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to let you do that. And you can make threats and idle threats, and you make threats on my family or fucking. Then it's a problem.
Yeah.
Then it's a problem. Then it is now escalated because somehow you felt that making your point had to be attached to some kind of physical acts of violence or whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm going to delete your like one, you didn't win me over, And now I am emboldened in this. Now I'm feeling really self-righteous in this because this is the path that you're taking. And I understand how that works both ways. I understand how, because the path I'm taking, now you're feeling pretty good about the stance that I take. That's how this works.
Yes.
And so there's always like this kind of passive volley where it's like, I like to pride myself on how diplomatic I can be. And I find that when I'm the one being attacked, it's a lot easier.
Oh, yeah.
When I'm watching somebody that I love being attacked, it's not so easy.
No doubt.
Especially
dude.
when I know how exhausted that person is.
I'll cut someone over that shit.
Because I know how exhausted, you guys are. And like, and there was already, I also have to know that there was already an apology made.
Yeah.
Take your fucking apology and be good.
Yeah.
Be on with it.
I'm trying to make situations that just what can I better myself out of it? So out of all the situations of shitty shit that happened, I ended up doing a bunch of research on Sacagawea, learned she had ties to St. Louis, that Trusant guy was a rapist who bought her probably at 14 years old. He had 2 Native American wives.
Her entire tribe sold their wives and their daughters to the white guys because they felt as though
he may have won her in a game or something too, so it may not have been
the joke may have been in poor taste or off color, but it was It was historically factual.
The deal was, I was just
it was historically factual.
I still want to be called out. I still want people to text me and say, "Hey, man, that made me think this," not this made me feel this way. And maybe that's part of the same deal, but I am always open to someone, because that's one thing. I don't want me to be like, yeah, fucking get them in the reservations, and all of our fans be like, yeah,
it's
man.
The worst. It's the worst.
So that's, I'm totally comfortable with someone saying,
Bridging
hey, man,
divides.
hey, motherfucker, I've had this experience in my life.
Yeah, you're a little tone deaf on that one.
Yes.
You're a little tone deaf
That's
on
why
that
I love getting in an Uber. And I need to just take Ubers for an hour ride
with people from other countries. It's the best.
The conversations I have with these people, by the end, I'm like, dude. And you ask them, they love America. A lot of people from a different country.
Of course they do. Because we have it really good, and people here are really comfortable bitching about things.
People here, you'll hear bitching and bitching and bitching. If you want to, you can always tune in the channel to the bitch. Oh, found it. Here's people bitching about stuff.
Oh, it's really easy.
Okay,
actually.
I'm pissed. I'm pissed too.
The internet is that. The internet is that mirror, and so and so is talk radio. Sometimes that mirror.
Totally.
It's very easy. That's why Condescending Craig gets 28 viewers and fucking Cordial Craig gets 7 because. Condescending Craig's funny.
Yeah.
Because we're all feeling like shit, and it's funny to... And that's what I realized. Okay, maybe I was frustrated. And what I started to feel guilty was, I'm like, oh, this whole thing that you guys are doing, I'm taking away from it. I'm taking away from all of this.
I didn't get that.
No, I know, but I'm also seeing kind of what's happening on the page. In real
yeah,
time.
yeah, I don't like any of that.
It's not what's happening to the Funly. Funly's growing, raising money. I mean... You got well over $6,000 in there, and we got some big announcements coming.
Yeah, maybe some real big ones.
In the next couple of weeks. Like, what you did was, we can kind of keep moving. I don't want to make this all about this.
I think it's important.
You apologize for something that you understand. You were made aware of something that was potentially insensitive.
Yeah.
Which we have a record of doing, and we have a record of making apologies for them. Nobody is going to hijack what we're doing to do it. Nobody's going to do that. Yeah. I will always defend that. I will always defend the fact that, like, hey, give me a chance to make it right, but you're not going to be a kid just screaming while I'm talking to someone else. You're not going to do that.
No doubt.
You're not going to do that. I am not going to meet you where you're at on that. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I understand like how this is the weirdest apology ever. Let me make myself abundantly clear. I'm sorry for how you feel. I'm sorry if you felt disrespected. I will be better going forward.
Yeah.
You will not continue to sit here and scream while I'm talking to the rest of the adults. You won't do that. And if you think you will, then we'll just delete you from the existence. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do any of that shit.
We don't want to do that. But
it's the
because we're trying to move it. We're trying to move the ball in a positive direction, right?
I always want to see what I'm capable of, and I think that's more of a challenge too. Like, someone likes the show, they get offended by the show, and it's like, oh, can I bring them back into the fold almost? Or in a bigger scheme, the psychology of everything that went on, like, should I care about that stuff? Why do I care about the one negative thing when there are a million positive things? So that's stuff I need to take a look at myself. And the psychology of the masses, that they went to my back and they were like, fuck this shit. We got your back, dude. And then it almost made me feel worse.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And I was like, fuck, man.
And I'm in a
weird emotional place. But I have no... Here's the deal.
I felt like I flipped a fucking cigarette in a dry fucking prairie. And it just...
Oh, yeah. Well, you have a lot of power. Like, just the way you speak, and you're eloquent, and you're very good about... You've gotten good at this, and you're already a charismatic guy that... people, I gravitate towards you. I love hanging. Like, when you came running back here after vacation, I was like, yay! Like, I really was. I was like, get out of here, man. What are you doing?
What are you doing? I'm just trying to relax my family, traveling all day.
Get out of here, man. I just drive all the way. Yeah, I know, dude. So I'm gravitated towards that, and I think we've done a good job building a community. So we're always going to be learning. We're always going to be getting better. Like, that power, we're trying to use it for good. Because like I was telling you guys before the show, I went through a thing where I used my comedy as just dissing on people. Like, I would just roast people all the time. And when someone can't roast you back, there's the psychology of, oh, someone can roast me back. This is great. We're fine. Someone can't roast you back, and you're like, oh, I'm picking on somebody.
Yeah, I'm an asshole. Yeah.
Oh, God. And there's a real fine line there.
Yeah, well, I got to that. I got to that the other day where I'm like...
Yeah, bully.
This isn't making me feel good anymore.
Yeah.
If I could have just said, because this is, ask my wife. Like, we don't get into this often, but like, fighting in my family growing up was blood sport.
Oh no!
It was blood sport,
Oh,
and it was like, hey, the quicker I can body this motherfucker,
how can I say the worst
get
thing?
Back to whatever.
Yeah.
And we were all so much like that like the delta for forgiveness was so huge. You could say the most reprehensible shit to the people you love the most because you know that the capacity to forgive was there. And,
I always say that's a fucking balance.
And typically that's how it swings. And I truly do look at this group.
What do you got? A hot date or something?
No, I'm just kind of tracking.
Yeah.
I'm making, So this group has become a family for us, and I love it so dearly. I do. I covet it, and I'm not going to allow someone who doesn't participate in it, to paint it out.
That's what kind of
to
pissed
be
me off
something
about
that
it,
it's
too.
not, because it's not. You're not going to lie.
She wasn't fully right. Like, that was not right at all.
No, that's what I'm saying. You don't get to...
I had to be a better person almost. You're like, but that's what I'm just like, well, that's a challenge. She taught me a lesson. Like, someone's going to come at you shitty. Guess what? I'm still going to learn something despite that. I'm still going to educate myself, and I'm going to do something for indigenous peoples next time.
Yeah.
Out of spite, I'll use the Michael Jordan, you fuck with me, whatever. But I fucked up, so it's okay to come at me. But you came at me all fucking wrong. Yeah. And then to put something on my page and other pages after we've already discussed it when you didn't check your messages.
Already forgiven.
And then
already,
you got to take
some responsibility for that.
Yes.
I'm not trying to fire you up. You did the right thing. I probably didn't. Well, I mean, I feel justified in coming to. I feel justified in coming to your defense.
Yeah,
I feel justified.
Well, I appreciate it,
and you don't need that. You don't. You don't need me to do that, and I recognize that. But also, this is our thing.
Yeah,
this ride is bigger than me. I'm uncomfortable talking about being along for it because I found myself so envious of my two buddies doing it.
Yeah,
this is something that like now I'm like fuck. Now I gotta go do this by myself, just so they don't have one up on me. So if we decide to do this again,
that is so funny.
If they decide to do this again, it's not like, well, Steve's done it twice and Brian's done it twice and Craig's only done it once. Like
the thing I said, Brian and I are tracking on the trail, and I go, man, you know the best thing about this? And he's like, I think so. And I'm like, we can always say this to Craig that he didn't do it, and we did, like when we're drinking that late at night, and be like, well, at least I biked the Katy Trail. And it's like, well, fuck you, man.
It really was. And we'll get to that, too, because this is something that I was having fun with. Like this.
You had to mastermind
this
it.
Thought exercise. I wish that I would have planned a little better. Like, I wish
No. That was the best part
but
about
I'm saying,
it.
like, I wish that I was free like not having to go back and forth the first 2 days.
Yeah.
Because we really
But still, that would have been tough.
Yeah, but we really could have had it like lined out. Because I do think that you guys, listen, if you guys aren't fueling up the way that you are at the different stops, if you're not buttering up and things like that, you're dead. Like, I'm surprised that you guys aren't a walking blister right now. For real. Like, I mean, honestly, like, and even I've said this a few times, like, everybody's like, holy fuck, these guys biked across the state. That's incredible. I don't think anybody can really appreciate what you did except for avid cyclists who, like, you know, do 50, 60, 100 miles once in a blue moon, who want to bike the Katy Trail as a bucket list thing. I've had a few people say, man, this is a bucket list thing. I'm like, you ride your bike all the time? What's holding you back? Because these guys just got off the couch and did it, you fucking sissy. Get on your bike and ride.
Yeah. Get on your bikes and ride.
There he is.
Oh,
Jesus.
yeah. Let's go to
Cool.
commercial
I'm gonna
break.
jump in. Let's go to commercial break. On the backside, I want you and Brian to
Does that hurt coming down them steps?
Did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
Stepping on needles on the way down.
I know.
Let's go to a commercial break. I want you guys to start telling the story of the trail, because that was like a long lead in to what this.
It was great. I wanted to get that out in first because we're about life lessons here.
And I want
better.
to apologize for how I want to tell the group, like how, and I since deleted what I fucking did.
Oh, you delete your own stuff
Because I wanna get in front of
everybody,
it.
all the other pigs sit in their mess,
They
huh?
can delete their own page. They can delete their own post. I won't delete it.
Oh, gotcha.
They can delete their own
Okay,
shit. Yeah, you want to censor yourself? By all means, delete your fucking post. I deleted it because it turned into something that it wasn't supposed to, and it was also like this steam valve outlet that I fucking did. That I was like, and when it was done, like a few people were like, "Oh, it's hilarious," you know. And I'm like, "Yeah, it's funny, but I'm getting really uncomfortable with everybody interacting with it, and because that's not who I want to be." And I do want to extend olive branches to an extent. I won't negotiate with terrorists. I won't let somebody be a fucking tyrant and just fucking scream while I'm trying to have a conversation. But I also don't want that. I also don't want that to drive me to be something that I don't want to be, and it did for a second. Yeah. So,
well, you're a piece of shit, so just
fucking right.
Oh, shit.
More than anything, I want to remind people I'm not beholden to your fucking.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not beholden to your fucking emotional immaturity. I don't have to do a goddamn thing I don't want to do. This is America, Jack. I'm just kidding.
This is the end of Craig's apologies are always like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, baby, but fuck you for doing what
I'm
you
sorry,
did anyway."
baby. I just didn't want to do that. I'm sorry, baby.
Get out of here anyway. Get us back to the thing. I don't work anymore. All right, I'll turn the microphones off now.
Let it vamp inside of me.
No, hold on. Go turn.
Let it vamp inside of me. Let it vamp inside of me. Let it vamp inside of me. I got 1,800 milligrams going real good down my throat. When I wake up in the morning and I need a pick-me-up, well, I grab my bottle of native hemp and I splash it on my tongue. Lap, lap, lap. Let it vamp inside of me. Let it vamp inside of me. Let it vamp inside of me. Let it vamp inside of me.
Native hemp extract available at HoosierSophisticate.com. Enter code HOSO, H-O-S-O, at checkout for an additional 30% off.
Hey there, pretty girl, sitting by the lake down at the old redneck Riviera. Sitting by the lakeside, gonna catch a little buzz.
Hey there, pretty girl, give me just a little love.
Hopping on my pontoon, I promise it's insured.
I called James Carlton for the boat and so much more.
Give me that Rita girl, tie up that ponytail.
Sit on my lap, pretty girl, and we will set sail.
Call James Carlton, we wish he were our dad. Call James Carlton so the girls will know you're bad.
Call James Carlton, he will insure us all. Call James Carlton, he is fantastical. Call James Carlton,
Yeah, girl.
call him up right
Call
now. Call him up right now.
314-961-4800.
Call him up right now. Call him up
girl.
right now. Hell yeah.
Hey there, pretty girl, sitting on the front porch. Getting all wet because your shingles all messed up.
Call Lifetime Roofing. They'll get you fixed up, girl.
Fix you up, girl.
Call Lifetime Roofing, late night goofing, got the cinnamon whiskey, girl getting frisky, sitting in them blue jeans. That's what freedom means. Gigging on a frog pond, hearing that sweet sound. Girl needs some shingles. Girl, are you single? Call Lifetime Roofing for some late night goofing. Lifetime Roofing for some late night goofing. Lifetime Roofing for some late night goofing. Yeah.
Native hemp, sitting right over there, pretty girl.
Realization across the nation.
American made. Infatuation. Got your heart racing.
NASCAR. Homeostasis.
Who you calling a homeo,
There's no
Romeo?
replacing.
Native hemp.
Is what I'm taking. Regulating. Pain sensations.
Okay. My sleep is better. I'm meditating.
From cognitive function. I have more patience. I'm smart.
And native hemp is
Come
what
on
I'm taking.
inside, girl, get you a warm meal. I know you're tired, girl, running through that ham field. Kiss me on the cheek, rope swing by the creek. Ain't no time to sport. Give me all that ore. It's native hemp, native hemp. It's native hemp, it's 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 native hemp, it's native hemp.
I'm an outlaw, check it and see. Want a poster looking like me. Checking the swamp man for a pretty girl. Being an outlaw in an outlaw world.
Hey, I'm an outlaw, check it and see. Want a poster looking like me. Walking my hound dog, surfing that swamp. Catching crow that do the sweetly stomp. Everybody do the sweetly stomp.
It's a stomp, it's a wiggle. Turn around, a little tickle. It's a stomp, move your feet. Head on down to Sweet Leaf. Head on down to Sweet Leaf. Head on down to Sweet Leaf.
Dude, man, get on down to Sweet Leaf Emporium and do that Sweet Leaf stomp, man.
James Carlton Insurance 314-961-4800.
Handsome,
Amazing,
astonishing,
astounding,
fabulous,
incredible,
fantastical,
phenomenal,
prodigious,
stupendous,
unbelievable,
wondrous,
divine.
fantastical.
No, seriously, he's fantastical.
You got a house,
Go on and get it insured.
you got a car,
You gotta get it insured.
you got a life.
Go on and get it insured. CarltonInsurance.net.
Fantastic. Stupendous. Fantastic.
Now, I might not know a lot about chemistry, but what I do know, it's likely that the hydrogen atoms inside your body are about 13.5 billion years old. And I might not know a lot about nanotechnology, but I do know it's important in quantum computing and the eventual takeover by our machine overlords. And I might not know a lot about otters, but damn is it cute when they hold their hands as they go to sleep. But what I do know is the correct bait to use at what time of day to catch you a real nice hog of a largemouth bass. And what I do know are the beautiful intricacies and sensations that is the cannabis plant. And what I do know are how psychedelics can help heal the nation filled with pain, trauma, and anxiety. I believe in America. I believe in the world. And most of all, I believe in you. Thank you, and I approve this message.
This ad paid for by Mycelial Media, mainly out of Craig's bank account, so please don't tell Craig that we are paying for it out of Mycelial Media. Thank you.
My fellow Americans, the world is experiencing a mental health care crisis and is searching for answers. The problem is we can't see the forest for the trees. The answer is nature, and it's time we decriminalize it. The Conscious Party believes in freedom. Every 25 seconds, someone in America is arrested for drug possession. 1/5 of the incarcerated population, 456,000 red-blooded Americans, are serving time for a drug charge. Another 1.15 million people are on probation and parole for drug-related offenses. The Conscious Party believes in equality. Black Americans are nearly 6 times more likely to be incarcerated for drug-related offenses than their white counterparts, despite equal substance usage rates. Almost 80% of people serving time for a federal drug offense are black or Latino. In state prisons, people of color make up 60% of those serving time for drug charges. The Conscious Party believes in fiscal responsibility. In 2015, the federal government spent an estimated $9.2 million every day to incarcerate people charged with drug-related offenses. That's more than $3.3 billion annually. It's time we take back our country. The Conscious Party believes in love, the Conscious Party believes in America, and most importantly, the Conscious Party believes in you. I'm Craig Kohler, and I approve this message.
This ad paid for with money out of Steve's piggy bank he typically uses to buy legal smokable herbs and concentrates.
Hello, and we're back here on the show, and I got this guy with me over here. This guy, look at him, there he is. Hey, you can see our sponsors, Sweet Leaf Emporium, Native Hemp, Spanish Society Outreach, James Carlton, Lifetime Roofing, Drumans. They all support what we do and what we did this weekend, buddy. What did we do this weekend? That was kind of fun.
I don't know. I thought I was sleeping through the whole time.
Yeah, no, I wish.
No,
I
definitely wasn't sleeping through the whole damn thing.
First off, tell us why you got involved with why would you do this with me? Why?
You want me to go down this road again?
Yeah,
like I was
why?
embarrassed with Cam Jansen earlier. Like, way to bring it down, dude.
Yeah.
We're on this we're gonna bridge the divide, and this is positive. I'm like,
you
hey,
look good though.
Thanks, man.
You look like like cut. You're looking.
Yeah, I got
cut,
a couple
dude.
pounds. I gained it all back, dude, immediately. Yes. I got home and just started friggin' eating like crazy.
I know. I couldn't eat enough, man.
More flies that just hit me.
No, it did not. No, it did not. They won't leave him alone.
What is going on,
They
dude,
won't
for
leave
real?
him alone. God, why have you forsaken him?
Oh, I think he explained that earlier, why he doesn't get hit in the face with bugs. But anyway, yeah, going back to that, one of the biggest reasons is me being a firefighter. We had a firefighter in our place, Ryan Hummert, 12 years ago that was shot and killed. So I've also known a couple other first responders and everything, and it's just too many names to mention. Snyder and Chris Moore, and there's just recently there was a couple guys that committed suicide. One out in Creve Coeur, a firefighter in Creve Coeur, which, what you guys, the work that you guys do with the, trying with PTSD and, and not a lot of that was ever put out there because with firefighters and police officers, it was always kind of went back to the whole military deal because it's like, oh man, you see this guy with his freaking head blown off or his legs laying over here or whatever, and it's like, nobody really realizes that we see that, and nobody really realizes that the cops are usually the ones that see that first. Yeah. They are really the true first responder when you get to that scene. And, and that's another thing for me, like when it comes down to the whole F the police deal, these guys are the ones that are out there protecting me for me to do my job too. If there is somebody out there that's having a problem and they're going a little crazy or whatever, hey, they're the ones that come in and calm the situation down. There's a lot of stuff that people don't see behind the scenes and a lot of the really, really good stuff. So, that's kind of that's my basis behind this whole thing. Grew up in a, first responder kind of family. So, it just makes sense that I would, when you mentioned something about it, I was like, dude, I'm on board.
I know.
Apparently 1,000%.
Yeah. Everyone's like, you guys are crazy. Do you think more people thought we would do it or wouldn't do it?
I think people were being
mixed.
very nice.
Yeah,
at first they were like, dude, I think you can do this.
Yeah.
And they're going,
no. Well, you had a little problem. We didn't have bikes.
Yeah.
We each had to borrow a bike. So thank you to Tommy Lucido and who?
Marcus Herman from the Brentwood Fire Department.
Thank you, Marcus and Tommy. We literally could not have done it without you guys.
No way.
But you had,
You're riding each other's back.
We had our bikes worked well. Like
very good.
They worked real well. But you had some issues the night before. I think we'll start there with our story. We're going to tell you the whole story of the trail here. So buckle up, baby.
Right. So, I mean, just touching on that with the not having a bike or not having anything. So it's like, hey, let's roll down to Southside Cyclery and spend $150 on accessories and all this kind of crap to put on the bike and whatever.
I bought bike shorts.
Yeah, well, cheers to Ed Hour too for
cheers to Ed Hour
for giving me those padded shorts.
We're raffling off our shorts.
He messaged me
you haven't
today.
washed them yet, have you?
I haven't washed them.
Oh no way.
Good.
And I never will. But
Never will.
He messaged me today and he's like, how's the butt feeling? How's the gooch or whatever? And I was like, hey man, I still got your pair of pants. And he's like,
he offered to come over.
He goes, you can just throw those in the trash right now. I was like, I don't know about that.
Well, you stretched them all out in the crotch area.
Yeah,
his will be like,
Ed's a little beefy.
Ed's got a dong.
He does, dude.
Everybody
it's real nice looking too.
Nice. It's a real nice looking
It's soft.
But yeah, so you had to put on a phone thing.
Yeah, so I'm trying to put on this phone accessory. Which if you've ever had to put one of those on a bike, there's like a little peg.
It's just
screw.
a bracket.
Yeah, there's like a little bracket that you can put in the peg screw.
It's
and
simple.
It says, it's supposed to be simple. So I get the Allen wrench out and I start dicking around with it, and I'm pulling it out, and all of a sudden I get it loose, and I'm like, all right, well, where do we go from here? And I grab the handlebars, and they completely come off the bike. I'm like,
I can't steer this thing.
Yeah, and it's like, what the hell do I do from here? So finally, just sitting there pissed off as can be, went outside, had a cigarette. Actually, no, I didn't, because my wife came up. She's like, Brian, let's just go out, have a smoke.
She's trying to calm me down.
Oh, yeah, she's trying to calm me down. No way, man. I'm like,
and what time is this?
Yeah, this was at probably 10 o'clock at night.
The night before.
The night before, yes. And I'm ready to go to bed. I'm like, I want to get some good sleep. We're getting up. We're doing this. So finally, I had to take the entire front assembly apart. There was a part inside that connected. There was like a wedge piece that connected with it to tighten it up. The good news out of this whole entire thing is, number one, I'm a bike technician now, and number two, that I was able to raise the handlebars 2 inches, which probably saved my life through the entire thing.
Totally. If those were 2 inches lower, because you had a real nice posture once you tucked your shoulders back.
I know. I was having a problem with that
Bear said
I was trying to get the wind.
He also heard you ripping ass in his shorts the entire weekend, so he definitely did not want those back.
Yeah, you blew a hole on the back.
Man, that one was
one? Gee, more than that.
I'm surprised.
It was kind of funny though, because you guys actually flipped positions between day 2 and day 3.
Yeah,
Steve was a shit machine on day 3.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
man, it was
I think you just sent the invitation at the casino, is what you did to him, waking me up with that freaking power shotgun fart, whatever the hell that was. At
what
5:10.
was that? What was?
I know it was
coming
5:10 in the
out of
morning, because it, and I looked at my phone like, what?
It was crazy. It was like buckshot.
Yeah.
It was buckshot coming out of his asshole. I don't know how that even worked. I slept with Craig, obviously.
Well, yeah, all the time.
And
I was tired from the night before.
Craig's
so
an interesting guy. He'll sleep in like a full yoga, spread eagle, legs out to the side, like a lotus position. And Brian has the whole other bed to himself. And we both were startled awake by these like such forceful and quick. And it was like there were so many weird noises coming from all of us all weekend.
Dude, it was a cacophony of bizarre sounds.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
All those electrolytes and magnesium farts. I don't know
if carbs give you.
You guys sounded
farts,
like Shorzy of the Letterkenny.
Oh yeah, it was so bad.
Yeah, it was bad. So we decide, we're going to do this. We're supposed to meet up early. We do. We go out to Tommy Lucido's. We grab the bike. He teaches me how to shift gears. Gets me all the equipment I need.
We don't
Luckily,
even know how to shift
I don't know how to
gears
shift
yet.
gears on this thing yet. I have no idea. He's like, you click it in here this way, and he's like, I think this is downshift, this is upshift.
You'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. I did. And that's a whole, the science in those bikes, wow.
Oh, yeah.
The engineering, wow.
And
that
just what you
Trek did
learned the
great.
whole entire time, too.
I mean, I had the Ferrari because, cyclists that would go by and see my bike, they're like, dang, we have the McLaren.
What are you riding with this dude for?
I know, the Trek guy over here. But the Trek hung.
Oh, yeah.
She's got...
Hey, we had to prove it to Tommy, too, because what was it when we were leaving? He made me feel real good. And he's like,
you're riding
he'll
that.
hang around like 12 miles an hour, and you'll probably be around 8.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I know, 8 miles an hour.
My ass, dude.
But then we get down there, and we had Lindner there.
Mm-hmm.
We had Schmitty there,
Yeah.
Schmitzy. They came. Said
not one of them brought a compass.
They didn't bring. Nope, neither. They didn't tell us we were going the wrong way at the
Nope.
beginning. Well, at the beginning we were going the right way.
He was waving to us.
And then you go, hey man, are you sure we're going the right way or something?
You're
You
like,
checked on the map, and I
"Oh,
go,
let
yeah,
me
let me
look."
check again. I check on my phone map, and I check on like the maps they have around there, and I'm like, yeah, it's this way. Here we go, and we
I'm like,
go.
"Well, are you sure about that?
And I'm starting to feel it from the very beginning. Immediately, I thought, oh my God, there's no comfortable position on a bike.
No.
There's no, oh, I'm in an uncomfortable position sitting here. Hold on, let me kind of, okay, now I'm better.
Let me
I'm
move
better.
the pelvis up just
Yeah,
a little
yes,
bit.
I can get some relief.
Now it's on the bone.
It's worse now.
Yeah.
Like the worst position ended up being my best position because I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I got to punish myself. So we go about 16 miles in the wrong direction. We go live.
Pretty good.
We said, hey, we're Black Walnut, and people are like, good job,
Great.
guys, go. We're going, and we meet these people on the trail who said, yeah, we're going down here to the end of the trail. And we go, oh, Kansas City?
Yeah.
Us too. Okay, we're
I'm looking
vibing.
at like smokestacks over there too, and I'm like, is that Illinois? Is that the place that I used to do the rescue stuff at? Like, why would we be going towards
It was.
Illinois?
And so we're heading that direction, and the road closes.
Yeah.
Immediately, we're like, okay, shoot. We shoot down 94. We're
Another
circling
great
around.
navigational friggin'.
Yeah, and then I'm like, dude, there's a road, shoots right over. You're like, cool, let's go to. We go to the road. It's train tracks.
It's railroad tracks.
It's tracks. And
Because you think, how long you think we can ride these?
ding, 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 over the ties.
Dude,
I mean, if I can
I'm going to
interject
kill
for
you.
just a second,
Please do.
I do have to say that for a couple of guys on a linear path, you found a lot of ways to get off.
Oh,
of the
yeah, we
fucking
did.
Path.
I
Everyone's
don't
like, can they
understand.
get like a GPS? I'm like, no, it's east and west, guys.
Yeah, we had
we were on a GPS.
We had all the
Oh,
apps.
I know. Oh, I know
We
you
had all
were.
the apps. So then Tommy Luchito calls me up, and he goes, "Are you guys at Black Walnut?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, we're cooking. I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know." He goes, "Dude, I think you went the wrong direction," and he can't quit laughing. And I'm like, "What the hell, man?"
My face went from this to.
He gets
Oh,
mad.
you were hotter than a horn. You were madder than a wet hen.
We had only gone about 12, 14 miles an hour, and on our top speed going downhill about 18 to 20, Brian rode away from that road closed, and we got back on.
34
Yeah, he
miles
was hitting.
Yeah.
He was hitting.
I was going.
I was going as fast as I could, just trying to. I was like, I'll catch up to him. And I'm like, oh God, it's like Mike on the raft. He's like somehow he's
going.
He's got
got a
superhuman
motor.
strength right now. So he went way ahead. We got picked up by Tommy Luchito and Black Walnut.
Did we decide it's a ch and not a s?
I did.
Okay.
I think he helped me out with that
Okay,
too.
good.
A little Cheeto is what we
Okay.
call him. So he drives us back to St. Charles. We get a bite to eat, and then he takes us to the next stop down the road. Lets us back on, and then we are off, baby.
Journey
We're
has
in the
begun.
right place.
The right direction.
And we meet some people on the way. Everybody's pretty cool. That section of the Katy Trail is pretty populated with people.
Very populated.
So we started from St. Charles, and then you get to like Weldon Spring, all that area. There's so many people on
A lot of
bikes.
walkers.
Yeah, a lot of people. So we're shooting the shit with some people. It's kind of interesting telling our story. Everybody's like awesome. You guys are going to Kansas City though? How often do you guys do this? How often do you guys train? You guys
First time.
They're like, oh. Good luck
guys
with
are
that.
crazy.
Good luck with that. All right, see you in Kansas City.
Did
and
you
then
hear
our
what they said? They're going to Kansas City.
Can you believe they are doing that?
Idiots.
They're dumb. They're never going to do it.
Right.
prove
you wrong.
But then our shtick became, as soon as we started passing people on the trail, we're like, see you in Kansas City. And they're like, oh, yeah. And we're like, no, for real.
Yeah.
We'll keep going here. So we get to a point where we see some peacocks.
Yeah, they were beautiful.
So there's people everywhere, and there's an open stretch, and we're like, are those peacocks? A white peacock, one of those colorful ones, and then the three that were just like...
They were just kind of...
juveniles or something?
I don't know what they were. Yeah, they were probably...
Just hanging out. They were like chickens just hanging out. Like,
Juvie peacocks?
Juvie peacocks. They would send them to juvie. And so they that was pretty cool because the wildlife we saw...
They weren't quite peacocks yet.
They were
like
yeah.
PPs.
Yeah, yeah. They didn't have any pubes yet.
Right.
Those are what you call the feathers in the back, pubes.
Heard that.
And so the wildlife around that area was wild, but very domestic wild.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a thing.
They could
don't
care less we were there.
The animals
fans are
on the
asking
trail.
for you to ride your invisible bike more as you tell the story.
So we're out there. Oh, this is us. I actually need to keep these going because someone told my wife, they're like, you and Brian need to get on those bikes a little bit tomorrow and at least ride them, get all that lactic acid out. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that after I sleep 40 hours.
She can shut up.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Yeah, I'll do that right after.
You don't know my
nap.
body. You don't tell me what to
settle
do with
down.
it.
She was
I
just
don't have
trying
anything to
help
prove
you.
to anybody.
She was trying to help.
Brian's
Just
right.
trying to act like you...
It's like filling Craig's chair. It was about that chair
Brian,
makes you
what
angry
that
and
fucking
everything.
chair
It
do.
is.
It feels good.
No, when I sat in it, there was a lot of heat.
It feels real good.
I got a
lot
pillow
of
under
heat.
mine. I'm like,
There's a lot of heat
forgiveness.
coming from that
Yes,
throne,
there
brother.
Forgiveness. So then we saw a turkey, and Brian could have grabbed this turkey by the head and just wrung it by its neck.
very
We could have had
close.
it for lunch. Then, and this is the biggest aspect of the trip I want to get to, is the fishing spots along the way.
Oh, boy.
Oh, sweet
We missed
sassy
out on a lot
molassie.
of stuff there.
At one
10 pounder at the last stop.
Yeah.
10 pounder at the last
buddy,
stop.
along the Missouri River, there's so many cool trips, and you're with Old Muddy. You're with the big Missouri River.
Awesome.
You're with it. It becomes like a part of your trail. Like we were saying,
If
when
you
it
make
was
a left
going,
the wrong way, it will be part of you.
yeah, if you go off the ravine, you're a part of it.
Yeah.
At that
I mean,
point.
you're really, 20 yards away.
There ain't no
Yeah.
coming back either.
If you go down,
there ain't no coming back, Jack.
That's right,
From
Jack.
that, you could probably swim out of it. It's not. I mean, it's pretty.
Wasn't
crazy.
bad.
It wasn't
Yeah.
just
I mean,
go
if we can
through.
go to Kansas City,
Yeah, we'll be fine. We went back to St. Louis. We should have taken the. Dang it.
they're taking a river
We
back.
took a mini. We took a mini instead. How are
was
your
com-
legs
that was
today?
comfortable.
Yeah, Brian was fucking reclined.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I was like,
he was smashing Trevor's
like checking on
legs.
you guys.
I wouldn't
here and
really
there.
call
You-
that reclined. I mean, my back was.
But
My
you
legs were in your
lying
glove box.
out, you were laying out. You
Right.
had like a sun lamp on you. And I'm like, I'm sorry, those racing buckets, they're not the most, because it's a fast one. She eats in
that
the
thing
turns.
corners.
Oh, she
eats
does
in the
eat in the
turns.
turns. I will say that.
She eats in the turns.
She does.
Brian's like, ooh, she grips them, rips them, doesn't she? I'm like, yeah, she do. But the racing bucket's not the most
Sucks.
comfortable ever.
Yeah.
And Brian's like, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable. And all I can think about is Steve, like, folded up in my trunk.
I was fine.
Steve's
though.
like, I've been folding up and putting a lot of trunks before, guys.
This is how I used to ride to school every morning. I'm all right.
It better end the same.
Yeah, I'm gonna be disappointed at the end of this.
So you're just taking me home?
It did.
That's it?
We've been challenged to kayak the Missouri. Let's fucking do it, boys.
Oh, man.
I'll do that one with you.
Okay.
I'll do that one with you. My wife thinks I'm an idiot.
The only problem with the river things, and I looked into this because I wanted to kayak the Mississippi, is the locks and dams become a real problem. Like you got
What's
to
the
get
worst
in
that could
there.
happen?
Nothing. Really, you could drown.
Well, I can
and
tell you
die.
the worst, but
Yeah. Well,
You
you're
drown, die.
equipped for it.
You're okay.
Yeah.
I can swim for a minute.
I'm a swimmer.
But yeah, so then we got on those bikes and did a bunch of miles on it.
we did, yeah.
That was crazy. We went on the Cam Jansen show.
That was pretty hilarious what happened
God, I
during
was
the show,
sitting
yeah.
at my fucking desk at work while you guys were on the Cam Jansen show. If you guys like, just check out Steve Elgin or Brian Kessler on Facebook.
Oh, here we go again.
I'm
You
screaming
can't
into
let
the
this go.
void. Yeah, don't worry about checking out Hoosier Sophisticate. Don't worry about it at all. They're just picking up the tab. Don't worry about Hoosier. Go to Steve Elgin. My boss
I'm
like,
leaving.
Are you okay?
This is my way of escaping the show. Now I'm like, follow Steve Elgin on all social media channels. How do you feel after it? Like, Grant, everybody saw the story, and we can go into that more. But like, I feel I've been weirdly emotional and
absolutely.
Exhausted.
I talked to the wife about because I talked to her about when we were on the trail, and we both turned to each other and we were like, dude, I don't even know what my reaction is going to be at the end of this. Yeah. It's like I've thought about it. I've thought about my kids. I've thought about Hummert. I've thought about, all these people that have given the sacrifice and everything and the reason why we're out here. And I'm on the trail like with water coming out of my eyes because all the dust.
Yeah, dust was stupid.
And all those bugs hit
the bugs were hitting me. And
we were weeping into each other's arms from the bugs.
Yeah. So, you almost get like a little delirious or something, You're just kind of like, just put it into some kind of, you got to find some kind of zone to get into, to get your mental head right, What do we do? Did we lose the feed?
Lost signal. Craig kicked us off because he didn't like what we were saying. You probably hit the chair into the plug, bud, and unplugged it. Craig hit the plug. It's that big one that came out over there. I know. Everybody can hear. They don't really need to see what's going on.
There you go. Hopefully that top one's not up there because it was a nice butt crack shot.
It's not. Oh, there we go. Go on.
Where was I?
I don't know.
Still delirious.
Water in your eyes, kids.
Oh, yeah. No, but you had to get yourself into it. Right.
And it was,
you had to get yourself into like a mental zone to where you don't think about those things because it is a downer. For a little bit, but then at the same time, you get to the end of that part of the emotion, and you're like, man, this is what I'm doing it for, though. So then you get kind of like a little more boost again, and you start going again. So,
how would you say it was more of a physical battle or a mental battle?
Mental, probably. I don't know. I would say the
like
first
a coin flip for you fellas, man.
Well, the first 2 days, I felt really, really good on the legs, and cardio, everything felt great. But you were still getting that mental game. You know what I mean? Like we would get to the top of some of these hills and you're like, ooh, man, I made it up to this. You know what I mean? It was hill by hill at some points. And you're like, man, if I can get up to here, the payoff. I was saying that the whole time. I'm like, this hill sucks, but the payoff is the backside's going to be a freaking, it's a decline.
And I explained to him that's not how topography works. Like it could be uphill all the way to Kansas City. Like,
but he is normally just a negative ass the entire time that we're out there.
I'm like, this sucks. Yeah. I'm hot. My butt hurts the whole time. Like, shut. Brian did go through about an hour span where he's like, God dang it! Another bug in my throat. Great. Now one in my eye. What? Why? What? Sorry. I'm a little angry right now.
A little emotional right now.
My favorite.
I was dying, dude.
What was that? That was the second day because I think I met up with you. It might have been around like tree lore, I think. And Brian comes up to me and he's like, he's not even saying anything bad. It's just the sound of his voice makes me want to fucking kill him.
When we both walked away from each other at that one stop.
Brian walks this way, Steve walks this way. They don't even look at each other. They're pacing opposite one another. They're just walking back and forth. Like, I don't know, man. Kind of hard to meet him in the trail. Just says something, stupid face. It was pretty great.
Oh shit!
But you get into those zones to where you can't even hear somebody sometimes.
No,
like to where I'm like, got to get left or whatever. I got a freaking hole coming up, and Steve's just I'm like, Steve, left.
No, or I'll kill you. Yeah. And I was like, that's extreme. No one would find you out here. Oh my God, you sound like my dad. Right. Settle down. No, I think the mental game. I knew what my body was capable of, as long as my legs didn't seize, as long as I didn't pull muscle, as long as we didn't break a bone. I knew that we would be able to push our bodies to whatever point until they broke. They broke. And that's
you mentioned the part with the quad. I think you had like a little tinge in the quad.
Oh, God.
My knee was like every once in a while.
At one point, I was like, I haven't been using my hamstrings that much. My quads were burning. And at one point, it goes, ching. And I was like, that ain't good, dude. Like
that would have been the one thing that would have shut you guys down.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And that's what. And then it's like, okay, I know I'm shut down. With the mental game, for hours, you're going, I can't do it. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. oh, your body's going to shut down, dude. How long has it been? 3 minutes?
Yeah.
It's been 3 minutes? Oh, man, I feel like I've gone 10 miles. I've only gone 3 miles?
How much coasting could you do? I mean,
just depend what section you were in. Like the first part of it, I feel like was really flat. I think it was pretty
really
flat. And then we got, I think like the first day was pretty much flat.
Yes.
There wasn't too much.
Second
and then
day
the
it was
second
fairly
day,
flat
yeah.
for most part of it.
And then once we got to the Pilot Grove and we went to that Casey's, that's where the gal's like warning us, you know. And right before that, we had a bunch of
Everyone
hills.
in Casey's is warning us. They're like, you're going that direction on the Katy Trail? They're like, oh, you're coming from Kansas City? And we're like, no.
That's
They're
really
like,
interesting.
Oh, good luck,
That's
buds.
interesting because on the Rock Island Spur, it was like flat trail, easy for beginners.
Yeah.
Probably the case coming from Kansas City.
Yeah.
Probably not too bad. You're probably downhill most of it, you know.
Well, walking too. It's but when you're looking at a hill just at a slight incline, and you're like,
right,
that's a long way.
You better
up
find
there.
that right gear.
Totally, because when you're on flat, you're pedaling, and it feels like you're barely pedaling. When you're going uphill, you're going through fucking quicksand, and you're only going about 8 miles an hour compared to the 11 you were going.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like you're stopped.
Like you're going nowhere. You're going backwards.
And you're pedaling harder than you were when you were going faster.
Your guys,
that's a mind fuck, man.
Being able to track you guys, especially the last day, and go ahead, like your guys' fourth quarter was fucking. That's how champions win.
Yep.
You win the fourth quarter.
Yep.
When you guys got to,
I don't even remember what the last 3 stops were. Seriously, I can't even remember the names of the damn things.
Was it Mocane? Is that
yeah,
right?
Mocane, I think.
When you guys got there, you had 3 more to go. Maybe 4 more to go.
Yeah, 4. 10, 10, 10, 17.
10, 10, 10, 17. The first one, you guys fucking cooked
we
it.
cooked
I was
on that
watching
one.
it, and I'm like, shit, dude, they're averaging about 14, 15 miles an hour right now.
Yeah,
which
he
is
kept
about as
yelling
fast
it.
as you go all day.
Yes.
Or the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And
For
I'm like,
spurts.
oh, shit. And I was even, like, it's so weird because I could find you and I could click on you and it would say like directions to you guys. This is how we got fucked a couple of times. Google Maps.
Oh,
yeah.
here we go.
Piss off.
They're
Google
the
Maps.
worst, man. They're the worst.
If you have Google Maps on your phone, never use it again. The worst fucking. Oh, anyway. So the roads, they don't run like. It was beautiful with 94 through wine country, through everything.
Yes.
Day 3 did not afford us any such luxury.
No,
You're
not
like
at all.
going through a lot of private farms.
Yep.
There are no roads.
roads.
That
Yeah,
run
it's
parallel
private,
to
a lot
it.
of that area.
You can't get to it. Like we found ourselves on private property a couple of times.
Right.
One time for sure.
Yeah, one time for sure.
This guy's like his dogs.
Wrong place, boys.
His dogs are going fucking banana sandwich.
sure?
It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm dropping
Hell
these
you
guys
go.
off on the trail, and
down some guy's driveway who wants to be left
it's
alone.
right where Brian's phone took us. We're following and we get there and it's like it ends kind of at a driveway, and then there's like a beat down grass path down into what would be towards.
And even on the map, it had like little dots.
We're 400 feet away.
Yeah,
We're
400 feet,
foot
little
away.
dots that show to the trail.
And so I'm like, maybe
No,
I'll just
Craig
keep the
and
car.
Brian are like, no, man, we're driving down this way. Quit being a little wussy. And I'm
Because
like,
we're going to
"Guys,"
you for directions.
I'm like, guys, this is somebody who wants to live by themselves. We shouldn't go down their driveway the whole time. Okay.
It was
We
handled
get
with
all of our.
grace.
It was handled great. We had to get our bikes off. I'm trying to get off of there, and then we get our bikes all the way off. The
By
guy
we,
comes out.
he means Craig had to
I
take
helped
our
that one
bikes
time.
off
I helped that
and
one
load them
time.
back on again.
I did help that one time because
You
I
did.
wanted to
You
get
wanted
it
to get
done.
out of there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to get
yeah,
done.
yeah.
Every other time, this guy was our savior because that little extra effort of us having
Oh,
to.
yeah.
Because the bike rack, you had to
And
position
it
them
wasn't
right.
the easiest thing to put in.
Yes, if you could just put them on, lock them in, cool. But this was like you had to maneuver them and like kind of make them sure. And it was a great bike rack, but I don't know if we just didn't take the time to put one all the way on the front, all the way on the back. But if you had 3 bikes on there, that'd still be
No
tough
way.
maneuvering them with their handlebars. So just having that little bit of extra load taken off of us after
you.
having the loads on us all day, it was nice having that load taken off of us.
Yeah.
After having all the loads on us.
Yeah, right on. Is there any CBD around here?
Yeah, right here. Some native hemp. Do we have any more breaking news or?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Let's go do some breaking news here. I
You
mean,
can never do it right. Ever.
The microphones are still on, Brian.
Okay.
Saying.
Were they on the whole time? Did I click the wrong thing off?
No, right when you switch it, that thing will shift.
Gotcha. All right. Well, hey, real quick, I figured since I'm over here in the cockpit, we can actually run through it. Is it still itching?
I can't feel it though. Is the problem? That's what the point I was trying to get to.
Here's what I can do.
I'm down there. I just feel like I'm getting
this is what we can do, guys.
a pinch of
because I'm in the
jeans.
cockpit, I can kind of show you how to do this. Up here, HoosierSophisticate.com, right? If you guys watching the screen behind Steve, matter of fact.
Do you have a desktop view?
Matter of fact, bud.
Do you have a desktop view?
I don't know. Right here, maybe? Look, we're at HoosierSophisticate.com. All you got to do, come over here, Native Hemp Extract. You click on the tab, okay? You go here. It's going to take you to the deal. We got to update our thing because Dennison's losing his mind, Steve. He's losing his mind. He's giving this stuff away. I don't understand it. You're going to go shopping, guys. You're going to go shopping? Put it in there. Put it in the cart. You're going to add one? Fine. Do it. All right? But here's the thing. You got a coupon code. You're going to click here in the coupon code. HOSO, Jack. Apply it. Watch this. Bang! Coming to your door. There's going to be about $50 all in. Check this bad boy out. I think it's like maybe like $48 somewhere in there. Point is,
hey, is my credit card information going to pop up here? What are you doing?
I am actually.
Jesus Christ, settle down, man.
I just wanted to show.
I know you're excited.
I wanted to run people through it. Dennison's out of his gosh darn mind.
He's losing it.
He's losing his marbles.
And you guys see the bottle?
There it is. Almost. Pull it back.
Why did that?
You had it for a second. Anyway. Point is, you guys can get.
I just love that that's like a weekly thing. Trying to put something on there. Like,
do you love it?
I do. I think it's one of the greatest things ever.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
If people are at home laughing
because that shit kills Craig.
Fist fucking our camera every Monday night.
Every week I'm like,
people at home are laughing about it, then great.
I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, all right, maybe this is going to be the week, and then he doesn't do it. I'm like, I fucking knew it. You're terrible.
Put your hand behind it. They say they're all. This is where all the fucking.
His hand is behind it. He's
all
holding
the
it.
armchair cinematographers come out. Steve's terrible with the camera.
No. It was there for the
fucking. Oh my god! I'm gonna fucking go to commercial. I swear to God.
You guys get the point.
Anyway,
right.
You guys get it. Craig, ask us questions about what you want to know about the trail.
What was the prettiest part of the trail?
The beginning part was
St. Charles.
Yeah, I liked having the Missouri River and right when you first
Not
get out
necessarily
of St.
Charles. Yeah, I mean,
I'm saying the first
like the end of day
first
one
day
through Herman, following
beautiful.
you guys. Like I'm like I don't drive 94 enough. This fucking road.
I think when we got to the point where you still had the river on the left. But you had the bluffs on the right. Like we got the summit, that one that looked like a dog just sitting up like 200 feet.
Like statuesque boulder up and it was just by itself.
There's got to be a name for that.
I know, that's what I said.
No doubt.
It's got to be named.
Does anybody want to get that gal that's canceling us? Let her ask her if she knows what the name of that rock is that's standing in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot of Native American stuff there. For real, like the history upon that, which is kind of shitty too, because they're like, this is where the Osage Indians used to live.
And then we put this trail in and told them to leave.
Until they left, and it's like, was that how that went? And when they're like, yeah, they just were like, we're getting out of here, man.
We don't want you guys.
This is beautiful.
All this racket with this trail.
Yeah, you're building a train here. We're getting out of here. There goes the neighborhood. But no, the bluffs, the Missouri River is huge. At some points, we were like, what is it, a quarter mile across right here?
Yeah, it was. It had to be close to that. It was.
And the sun going down and getting to see it, and then we'd go over these bridges, and there were some really cool moments. And then when it got dark, going over those bridges, we're like, looking on both sides.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think the one, too, when the next day, once we went through those at night, because during the daytime, the first day, you didn't notice that, like, the sides of those bridges, there was nothing to stop you if you didn't put one through the uprights. You were freaking done. You know what I mean? Like,
you're just gone.
Oh, and then the next day I saw that we're riding through one. I'm like,
is that what that is?
Shit, dude. If we're like, hey, we can't fit on this one, Brian, you go to the right. You know, that's just the pylon in the middle. Like freaking E.T. for a little bit. Like Elliot.
I thought some of the trail at the end, and I don't know if it was just because I was like, get me out of this, but it was just trees on each side, and we hit one
Kind of
portion.
boring, right? Like it was
little
a
bit.
gravel pit.
Oh, it was
did-
all like private farms.
Yeah, but we did hit one portion where it was like they carved it out of a little part of the
Like the
Oh yeah.
like a mountain that was not
Oh,
mountain, like
yes.
like it was like 10 feet tall
Little
It
boulders.
was a stone structure.
Yes, but then they kind of
Yeah.
carved you out in
That's
the middle
pretty
of
cool.
it. So you're
was
riding
really
it, and
neat.
it was cool air down there. And anytime you hit a patch of cool
Relief,
air or
of relief.
breeze,
Yeah.
You pissed your pants.
oh, you just let it all out. Just let anything.
Everybody
And
saw the picture of you guys riding the moped.
Yeah.
that was
Go ahead and go.
yeah.
Just go ahead and go.
That was the hardest thing. Like my plumbing was wrecked
Oh, yeah.
down there. I didn't know whether I had a fart, a turd, a pee,
Oh, yeah.
anything.
that
coming
second
out
day
of
when
there.
we took off, and I'm like, my nutsack is on fire, dude. You have to stop.
I was.
You have to
dying
stop.
laughing.
I'm like,
Brian's
I cannot
"No."
adjust it. I'm
He's like, no, it's creeping up to my nutsack. And we just started. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, I gotta stop, man.
Yeah.
And at this point, we've learned you don't stop for you
No,
stop for
no.
nothing.
Push through. Yeah.
You and if you're gonna stop, the first day we're like, hey, let's stop here. I gotta adjust something. Okay, we're stopping. We learned, oh no, momentum is your friend.
big time.
Get
You
whatever
Yes,
you can get.
coast as
Yeah.
far as you can before, and to go with the mental thing, thinking back to what you were saying about how you get those spurts of mental energy. Like Jenny made a video with the kids
Yeah.
that picked my ass up. Hearing some of the songs that came on your radio or came on my
Yeah.
radio, we're like, okay,
All right,
cool,
we got
let's
this.
do this.
Yeah.
The little things that can happen.
Little Top Gun playing with the boys.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
a good
Oh,
one. That
yeah.
got it going.
And then we got a little conversation
Yeah.
about that. And if you can get a good conversation going, you can forget about time for a little bit. You can forget about pedaling.
Yep.
But then you get so tired, you're like, so what do you think? What do you think about
Your
like
brains were
The
zapped.
Office?
Oh, yeah, you can't
And
even
you're
talk.
like-
You can't think about
You're
what.
like, what's your
question-
favorite episode? And you're like, oh, I like that one where I said I like that one where that Michael kind of seemed like an asshole at the beginning, but then at the end you kind of loved him for it. And I'm like, that's the whole point of the show. It's like you
That
think
for
he's
real
an
came
asshole.
out of his
Yes,
mouth, and I'm
dude.
like, pedal harder, dude.
Like,
Get
just
away from
go,
this guy.
Just go.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you kind of summed up what the actual show is
Yeah.
about. I'm like, that's my favorite episode. Okay,
I like the
cool.
one where Stanley's sitting in his desk and he's angry.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Whatever.
That was your favorite.
You shove it up
episode.
your butt.
Shove it up your butt.
Get.
You don't watch the.
That's what he
I don't
says
watch
in the
that.
office. It's a
Yeah,
good
you
episode.
shove it up your butt.
Getting to you guys on Herman. You guys were at Herman. You guys were.
Well, we had to drive to Herman because Craig wasn't there to pick us up at the
Oh.
trail,
let's-
so we had to
let's
take
do
the
this. We're like,
Herman.
where are you?
We had
I'm
to take
like,
the Herman spur.
Where am I?
And we had to drive
Herman's
on the
an hour and a
highway.
half from my door. I've driven back and forth 2 or 3 times.
don't wanna hear it.
Where indeed am I, guys? Where am I indeed? Oh, I'm on mile 452. Where are you? What mile are you on? 90. You're not even on 90 yet, bud. I've done 5 times the amount of miles as you have. Why don't you cut me some fucking slack? I got you the only room in Herman. You can sleep with the fucking hobo who's also biking for Backstoppers if you want to catch an attitude with me. Anyway, I get there. They're delirious. And Steve and I think it was Brian's like farting, doing his thing over in bed. They're both splayed out in a towel because I have all their clothes. This is cute. When I get in there,
Yeah,
we were.
they're like they are lounging like spread eagle in a towel.
It did feel good. That's probably why my nuts itch right now too. That
We had to
bed had to have something in it.
Oh God!
Oh,
Immediately I
that's
whipped
us.
up. There was one bug in the bed too.
You didn't share that with me. You didn't share that with me because when I woke up the next day, I just felt like
I'm itching right now.
my-
Just we're
For
talking
real,
about
my
it.
back
and I'm
was itching and
itching.
shit. Like you guys got my.
Well, you
brain a
slept
little bit.
naked.
Yeah, well,
It was weird.
doesn't everybody sleep naked?
Not when they're like when they're in a seedy motel and they're
I thought that's when
with
the
their
time you were
buddy
supposed to do that.
and they're on a charity bike ride. And
Right.
It was. Okay. So
I didn't know.
Now we learned a lot.
See?
We learned
This
a lot.
is a game changer.
You guys got on the trail not knowing a
Inside
fucking
joke.
thing about cycling.
We didn't know anything by the day
By
three.
day 3, you guys were talking like you were Lance goddamn Armstrong.
After
Drafting, you were drafting one another.
After I figured out
Oh,
the
yeah.
gears, I'm like, Brian, I got this thing figured out. I got it on the big wheel in the front, and then in the back, I got to switch up, and you got to really be on these gears. And I hit a point where, and I had some of this cannabis extract water that I was down in for a while, and I'm going with it. I'm like, woo! Hit another gear, and I come back because I'm like waiting up or whatever. Brian would just catch me. He was like the tortoise in the hare because I'd be like, yeah! But then I'd be like, oh, okay. And he'd just be like,
right.
Think you're blowing out your thighs when you keep doing that.
Every time. I'm like,
you're blowing out your thighs.
He's like, I can't get the guy to listen.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm like, when we go down a fucking hill,
were the
man, just
problem.
hit that one gear and just not pedal hard.
I was hitting a
No,
gear.
boom,
It was fun going really
gone.
fast.
Yeah.
Like when I hit down hills, I'm like, woo! Here I go.
I just get the side saddle. I'm like,
And
here I come.
He's just like the wicked witch of the West, that lady later, like on their little bicycle with Dodo in front, catching me. Yeah, my what was I even getting to with that?
Well, you had me ask you some questions. We were talking about the beautiful
about Herman.
thing. We get to Herman.
Oh yeah, the Herman thing, and we had to drive across a bridge, and God love cyclists or bikers because
they love hearing that too.
Because on the road, some people don't like you. And you're trying your best to get out of there like, oh, I'm taking up the minimal amount of space. And the Katy Trail is taking me this way. I have
we have no choice.
I have no choice. This is the only way I can do it. And people are like, get the fuck out of the road.
Yeah. What?
And I'm like, oh, this can't be real. When we get to the Berman Hotel, the Herman Hotel.
The Berman.
And we have the wrong room. And we whip up in our bicycles, and there's two dudes.
And we probably picked the worst number that we thought was our room, too. We picked 110, which is on the side of, like, the old Rape Motel. You know, the one story looks like the Bates Motel.
Yes.
We're actually in, like, the 3-story deluxe condominium next door.
Yeah.
We roll up, and there's these two frickin' Hoosiers that are sitting there probably drinking some Bush, which is fine, whatever.
Drunken Herman, dude. They're all been day drinking.
But it's like it's like a big 1985 freaking Chevy pickup truck.
These are people who are hanging out at this hotel,
Yes.
like trying to get away from whatever. This is not people staying at a bed and breakfast.
Trolling for some wino trim, man.
Oh,
Hell
I
yeah.
don't even know.
We could have had some that. What was that? The first night?
Wino trim.
Mm-hmm. The guy that. You guys, night riders.
Oh, that guy. That's what he was talking about. The drifter.
Yeah, the drifter.
Was that the first night?
That was the first. That was our last stop on the first night.
Night one.
Yeah.
Night two, we had a guy
nice.
that Steve and I had a guy.
That's when I didn't bring my gun, and that's why we were like,
Steve and I had a guy on a spoonful of meth. Okay, comes out to us as we're walking out to grab. What we're getting out. I can't remember. We're getting something out of the car. I don't remember what it was. And he's like, "You guys know anything about projectors?
Oh God!
You guys know anything about projectors?" And I'm like, I got one in my living room.
Well, and for the first time, I was like,
Steve's mentally exhausted.
For the first time, I'm usually all there for those guys. Like, yeah, fucking, I'll listen to you for a second. I'm an idiot. But for the first time ever, I was like, nah. And I'm like, oh, Craig never wants to listen to these people. And he's like, I know a little bit about projectors. I'm like, no, God, please. I just need to get to your car.
Get out of my face.
He's like,
please, God.
He's like, all right, well, here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. I got a projector. It's got a Roku.
Yeah, and it
Projector
plays
Roku,
Netflix.
It plays Netflix, whatever you want on the Roku.
Shit. He's like, I'm rich.
Here's what I'm trying to do. I'm busted, man. I'm broke. I'm flat.
Well, no, he said he's like, I got stacks. They just won't let me get to them.
I got stacks. They won't let me get to them.
I'm
I'm
like,
busted,
who
broke.
won't
I'm
let
just
you
trying
get
to
to their
turn
stacks?
this. I'm just trying to turn this projector into a couple of craps bets. You feel me? And I'm like, I actually do feel you. Right? My kid's in the room right now. I would be downstairs tossing cards.
Well, you met up with him later, didn't you?
Yeah, but it took like 15 minutes to hang out. So anyway,
I had him up there.
So I'm like, dude, I do get it, but I'm on a card, babe. I'm on a card. I got
all
no
plastic.
cash on me. I'm all plastic. And he's like,
Fuck
you don't want to buy this Roku?
$20.
I didn't really before, and I still really don't, and I don't have any cash, so I can't turn your fucking projector into a
he
craps
was
bet.
kind of a knucklehead. We met a guy who came up on us on night one with a headlamp in our faces with a bunch of stuff on his bike.
Out of absolutely nowhere,
out
too.
of nowhere, and he's like, huh, Night Riders?
Yeah.
Night Riders too? And then we're like, yeah, okay. And so we kind of give him the spiel of what's going on. We're both like, yeah.
I thought he was like a park ranger guy at first,
we
too.
did. We immediately thought he was a
Because
park
it's pitch
ranger.
black. That's one thing that Katy Trail needs to do is at least put one frickin' lamp at those stops. I know it's supposed to be closed down at night.
At the actual
at the
trailheads?
at the trailheads.
Yes.
I mean, one
They're
freaking
black.
light, dude. It is.
Oh, especially
pitch
since
black.
you could just run a little solar situation.
Yeah,
You don't have to-
exactly.
You don't have to put any.
Right.
Very easy.
They're getting
very
direct
dim
sunlight.
lit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be anything special.
Yeah.
But he comes rolling up right on us. And so we're like, yeah, we're doing some good stuff out here, doing our thing, kind of giving the spiel. Yeah, we got a car coming for us real quick. We got a car. Many people know where we're at right now. Like we got we're
There's actually a drone up there.
Yeah,
They're
we're watching us right now. So, and he's like, oh, okay, cool. And he's kind of acting sketchy a little bit, and like, okay, well, that's cool. And so Brian goes, I don't want to be rude, and he's telling me some sort of story that I'm like, what is this guy talking about? And
I think we told him our story first about where we're going, and then he turned it into
Defiance.
He turned it into his story.
Well, no, then he goes, I was from
Yeah, he goes, it took everything I could do from Defiance to here right now.
Yeah,
so.
and I'm making my way down, and I'm stopping at some other place, not Kansas City.
Michelle Branch, make my way downtown.
And then so Brian goes, I don't mean to be rude, but I need to take this phone call. And I'm like, where are you going, dude? You dropped your gun off. You left your gun. You're going to leave me with this dude? So I'm sitting there, and of course, I'm like, well, there's no outrunning this guy at this point because I tried to race. Trevor's
The
like,
one time Steve doesn't want to talk to somebody, too.
Totally.
The one time.
And I'm like,
oh, you can take the ball on this one, buddy. You know, and he's just like.
No. And I'm such an idiot. I'm like, so what are you up to? And I'm like, I forgot that we had already asked him and went through all this shit. But I was like, so you do this often, just trying to make small talk or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I'm here doing a charity thing for Backstoppers. And Brian's like, there. I don't know if he's actually even on the phone, but we both look at each other. He's like,
I just told him
because Brian had just told him that story, and I'm
He's like, yeah, I just came from St. Charles and I'm doing it for Backstoppers.
Took everything I had to get here from St. Charles, and I'm going to Kansas City.
As if you were a madman,
he's
with
parroting
a bike, where would you go?
Oh yeah,
the trail's
it's the
actually
perfect
got an
spot.
economy.
It's
It's got a microeconomy along the bike trail.
It's the perfect spot for drifters and people who would just want to get off the grid a little bit. Yeah, but there weren't many of them. Like unless you're on there at night for too long. So then cars start showing up, and
Slow
this is
rolling.
in the
slow rolling
in the middle of nowhere by Herman. So you're off the spur, you're 3.1 miles away, and there's nothing over there. And Brian and I are putting on our gloves, like it's because they're the fingerless gloves. So we're like, all right, Brian, you ready to get back on the trail? That car's supposed to be meeting us here in about 2 minutes. And this guy's like going to meet the cars, and the car people are coming down to him. We sped out
like
of there
popping
as
over the
fast
top
as
of their
we
cars,
could.
looking at us. I'm like,
so then you get an adrenaline burst though, at least. So then we're cooking.
Like, how fast are these guys?
And we're going by Herman, all the Herman like bed and breakfast and nice hotels and all this stuff.
People are lubed up.
Oh, the coolest moment of the trip is we go by this. Brian hears live music, and we're pretty taxed at this point, and he makes a hard left on the street, and I'm like, no, man. It says the GPS is up here, and he's like, I hear live music. I never pass up live music. And I'm like, forget this, dude. So I go, I'm riding, follow him, and we start hearing, dun, 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 and we can hear like the voices of people, and we're like, what the hell?
They actually sound pretty good.
Yeah, we get closer and closer. There's a live band playing in this courtyard. It's the only thing going. The town is dead at this point on our little stretch of it that we're on. And all these people are singing their hearts out. Ain't that America?
No mask.
Home of the free, baby. And a part of me is like, man, ain't that fucking America? We're like, the COVID.
Yeah, super spreaders.
Yeah, they might actually be dying. They all look like they're in the dangerous age range for it. Yeah. But they're like, fuck it, man. It's my right to die of this
I will
disease.
die
I don't
right
care.
here with a wine buzz.
Yeah.
In Berman.
They were so happy. Yeah, and then those two dudes that we met with the truck, we bust ass into this hotel. Well, first there's a mega hill to get, and we see the sign, and we're like, oh, no.
Right.
And I'm like, Brian, let me stop at this Casey's real quick. So I did. I had to stop at the Casey's just for a second. We didn't even go in.
Oh, you just barely pulled in, and you were like, nope.
Yeah, so I still had to make the effort. And so then we get up to the hotel, and we see it, and we're like, no. I'm like, Brian, no. Like, there's no way. You even go into the office, like, it's awful.
And you just went up that hill, lack of oxygen.
Yes. And we're like there's got to be something else in this town.
Right.
Like, Craig
Am I reading that wrong?
Yeah, this is.
I thought he said Herman Hotel, not motel.
Well, here's what he even
You know?
said too. He goes, "It's 2.2 stars." I'm like, I don't care. Just get a bed for us,
Well,
man.
we were shopping around.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
were.
It wasn't like we didn't try.
Between
I mean,
what, 2 places that
we
actually
we
had?
called like 3.
No, I called a few of them.
Yeah.
They all had no vacancy.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, you'll be lucky to find a room. I'm like, I call it, and the guy's like, let me check. Yeah, it looks like I got 1, 2 queens. I'm like, 2 queens, perfect.
Yeah.
The pictures show like it's got like this like tavern attached to it and everything. It does not. That was just some random bar. Like
There's
the
some
pictures
hole
were
in the
not
wall.
indicative. I've stayed in
Which
way
I would've
worse
loved to
places.
go to that bar, but
The room was actually pretty decent. It was just
it was just 1983. It was renovated in 83.
Or 76 even.
And there were some seedy characters like out in the parking lot. But we bust ass into this place, and I just ripped the mat up from room 110. I'm like, of course, no fucking key. And I'm like, what's up, dudes? Just trying to be their best friend because I'm like, these guys are going to kill us. It's harder to kill someone you like, kind of, I would assume.
They
So I'm
didn't,
like, "What's
Grace.
up?
They had no rooms.
Wish I was fishing right now or drinking beers right now or whatever." And Brian's like, yeah. And I'm like, check that room again. Is it 110? And he's like, let me check. And I'm like, actually, is this one of your guys' rooms? Because they're sitting directly in front of it.
We just went
And
under
I
the
just
mat.
went in there and just under the mat, just looking for this thing. I'm like,
2 dudes in like
that's
spandex
We're in
shorts.
spandex, dude. Just hot, coming in hot. And so they're like, no, I'm on this room on this side, and I'm on this room on this side. I'm like, well, do you know who's here? Like, we need a key to this room. And Brian's like, it's 119.
Right.
We get to 119, no key under the mat.
Nope.
We get to the office, we're ringing the bell. Oh my God! Finally, after about
That
10
place wasn't
minutes-
renovated since the 50s.
No, that was rough.
That was
And I'm
was
like, if
weird,
this is
dude.
indicative of the rooms, oh my God, we might be in trouble. Just as long as there's no bugs. That's the only.
It looked like the inside of a dry cleaners too.
Yeah, no fluids or blood or bugs. You know
Well,
what
there's
I mean?
fluids.
There was the carpet was stained in some weird areas, dude.
Yeah.
So then we end up. They give us a key, and I was like, "There's no key under the mat," and she's like, "That's because I haven't put it there yet." And I was like, "Okay,
That's
was
weird because we said we were going to be here
Yeah,
an hour ago.
yeah. And
Before
so-
the guy tried to rape us off the trail.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you got to watch out. He's probably coming to stay
Yeah,
here.
no kidding.
He probably had a room there. So we end up getting the key, going in there. It wasn't bad. But like I said, like Brian said earlier, we didn't have any, or Craig maybe said, we didn't have our clothes. So Brian
Yeah, I walk in, they're just like spread out in a
It was
towel.
the worst. And then they had to go outside at one point, and Brian, I think, was shirtless, and Craig, maybe it was in the morning, and I had just, oh no, it was that night because I had just had a towel on. And I'm like, are you guys getting my clothes? Just to make sure
That was
everyone.
right when Craig showed up.
Yeah.
I went out there with my shirt off and you're
so that everyone knew what was going on.
Yes, I'm like, okay, maybe they'll be scared of us.
Yeah, after I wheel in this fucking 55-gallon drum of lube, I'll bring your clothes right
Just see
there.
our neighbor's door go.
Yeah, no, get these guys away from us.
Yeah, the guy's like, oh, now it's a party.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ended up having a few people back to our room. It was a pretty good night.
I caught 3 of them, Henry. Come on over.
We laughed so fucking hard at the dumbest shit. Like your delirium was in high gear.
Oh yeah,
high gear.
And
I was giggling.
I mean, it was like you stepped out, I think, to talk to Jen for a second. Impractical Jokers was on. Jeff Daniels said he's doing this bit where he's making people admit who farted in the room. He's like, look, I did this movie with the Farrelly brothers called Dumb and Dumber. He goes, and you know, the best scene from the whole movie was when I had the diarrhea. He goes, that was a real fart. They asked me point blank, and I had to tell them, and that fart, you know, it made my whole career. So I'm going to ask again, who did the fart? And the two people are like,
I missed it.
And before, and one of the top practical jokers like, I did the fart. He's like, thank you for being honest. See, this is how you get it. This because I want to offer you a little spot in this movie. So
that's brilliant.
And the gal's looking at him like, well, the next time the 2 different people are doing it again, and this guy, and he goes, I'm going to ask you, who did the fart? And this guy goes, me. And you're outside talking to Jen, and I had tears rolling down my face, dude. And it was like all night, I first off, that bed was awful. It was like,
I was already laying on it being like, man, this is nice. Craig gets on it and he goes, oh, nice planks of wood we have to sleep on here. And I'm like,
dude, this is
I didn't
comfortable as
realize
hell.
how uncomfortable this was.
Right.
Well, I'm sure when I fucking laid on the bed with Steve, he goes, whoop, like an air mattress, you know, like this fucking.
Well, yeah, just the fact your ass is not on a bike seat.
That is
no doubt.
And you're laying down, you know.
That is the
So
whole
that was
horizontal.
the prettiest. Would you say that the most treacherous part was the tree?
Oh,
my
absolutely,
God.
dude.
The tree was insane. And immediately I thought setup, Walking Dead type setup. Someone
You're the
cut
weirdest
this
son of
tree
a bitch
down
ever.
to get us. They're like, oh, we got
Same
him.
thing with you can go back to the motel. He did the same thing.
What?
You kicked the front door open with your bike tire because you thought that there was a murderer behind the door.
No, I didn't think there was a murderer in there. I was just being safe for you.
Brian, go check the bathroom.
Well, that was
really?
when I was in there.
And then you were right behind me.
That's when I was inside of
Yeah.
it. No, listen, when you go to a motel like that, you're not going to push the door open and kind of give it a look-see before your Brian's like, hey, honey, I'm home. Hatchet to the back of the neck, dude. And that's how you go out. I'm better off. Listen.
What was the most pleasant surprise? Oh, wait. Tell the fucking story about the tree.
Yeah. I was wondering. The tree.
Hatchet tangent.
Yeah. I'm all over the place.
This is our first time at night, too, wasn't it?
This is our first time at night. Tommy
got pinned,
Lucido has a light on his bike, which we learned can come off. But I'm like,
Didn't know that.
the only light we have is this on the bike. So any way you position the bike, we had to. Oh no, here's the best part too. I said it to Brian. I'm like, this is a setup. It's a perfect setup. And he goes, yeah. I bet someone came out here with a chainsaw and cut this 40-foot oak down in the trail to be like, I got him now.
Right.
They could have put 3 cones up and we would have been like, oh man,
Slow down.
Is there something here? We gotta stop.
Yeah.
Like it would have been much
We talked
easier
about
for
that.
someone.
We talked about that in the Boonville parking lot, Isle Capri. Like, dude, you're so gassed. If somebody
yes.
caught you at the tail end of that thing, like you weren't even on your bike, even if you were on
catch
your
you in
bike.
the tail end.
The most treacherous part was that tree, and we had to like maneuver our way through it. And God bless, like
That was
I'm a
brutal.
little spider monkey getting through there. So me and my bike, I can kind of get through it. Brian is Sasquatch trying to come through. His bike is 4 foot in the air. He's like, I think I'm hung up on something. And I'm like, hold on, let me turn my bike back towards you now. I'm going under these branches, and Brian's trying to step over them.
through 'em.
He's
And
like the
our
lizard in
legs are
Monsters,
good.
Inc., you know, and
Yes,
he's coming
I
through,
was.
you know.
And I'm like, Brian, I think at first the right side of the trail looks like it might be better, but that's where the thick part of the tree is more of that.
You got to
is.
get up towards the top.
But off
Yeah,
the
we'd have to
left
get
side
where
of
it
the
was.
trail is a muddy ravine and the Missouri River.
You're fucked. You can't go. You can't go down there.
So if you go down there, it's going to be real tough climbing back.
And we don't even know
that
how
muddy
far,
river.
like, the river
And
is
we
from
don't.
us.
Yeah, it may be 10 feet. It may be 30 yards, but the river is down because the whole time we had been
You can hear it.
going. Yes, the whole time we had been going and the tributaries that come
it
off the
runs.
Missouri.
That fucking river runs so hard too.
Oh, buddy, it's cooking.
Yeah.
And it's swirling
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
constantly. It almost looks like it's going in different directions
Yeah.
at times. It's wild,
It's
man.
a tumultuous fucking
Oh, it
river.
is.
Yeah.
It is churning. But all of the spots off of it, like all the little tributaries and creeks, are and filled with fish. They're so cool, filled with fish. But that was super treacherous. The tree, we ended up getting through it, and then we had like an adrenaline rush.
Oh, we had to
after
take
that.
a break for
We're
like 20 minutes.
Oh
though.
yeah,
We were
did. We
pouring
chilled.
sweat too.
Oh, we were dying after
Yeah.
that, dude. Because I was like, let's go live. And then we saw how far the tree went in the trail. And we're like, there's no end to where this tree is. It was like putting the top of a tree on the middle of the trail. So you're like, holy crap, what am I going to do? But the most treacherous part was when we saw that bear.
That was pretty damn. That was more scary than treacherous.
That's
I would
true.
say.
But that was the scariest part for me.
That was pretty scary for a second.
We get to this point where the road is closed, the trail's closed, and there's a bridge. They have this thing, and it's funny because I was like, I said that mile marker 118, it's closed, but it was from April 16th, 2018.
Right.
And so we're like, oh,
Gotta be open by
It's
now.
got to be open. We go that way, it's closed, and we're like, okay, well, there's a culvert and like a bridge, and we're like, is that the bridge? Because it looks pretty good. So we're kind of looking around, but you can't see under the bridge, and there's a creek. and there's like woods up here, so you can't really see what's going on. Woods on the sides of you, and we hear something just tearing up the water, the creek, the brush around there. And we're like, there's something in the woods. I'm on the phone with Craig.
Doesn't sound like a human either.
No,
you know what I mean? It's like
bigger
you got,
than a human. And I'm like, well, black bear is the only thing we really have to worry about here. Maybe a snake or two. I don't know. But so I am looking down. Brian, I don't know what he was doing. Who knows what he was doing? But I'm looking down, and I see it's the black snout come out from underneath the bridge. And
I was on the phone with you.
Instantly, I'm like, it's a bear!
I was on the phone
I go,
with
Brian, it's because I just wanted to let him know, be like, dude, I'm hopping on this bike and I'm gonna try to hit about
You're
35
dead.
miles.
Dude, they
100%.
go about
That
45.
bear would
No,
fucking
well,
wreck
I
you
think
on
they
a
can
bike.
run about 30. I think
Okay.
what I've learned. So I'm like, top speed on me. I might be able on an adrenaline rush. I might be able to outrun this thing. Brian,
You'd fuck up on the gears.
if he,
Yeah.
So it comes out. Brian immediately goes into John Wayne mode where he's like, I got it at the hip. And it takes one more step out, and I see it's a cow head, and I'm like, it's a cow.
Dude, I'm on the phone with you.
My
at this
legs
point.
almost shut down at that point. I was terrified.
I'm on the phone
dude.
with you, and you're like, need you to come get us. Trail's blocked. We need to get you on the other side. I'm like, I'm already 30 minutes home. I'm like almost to Washington. And I'm like, fuck, they got a decent ways down, a couple miles down, you know.
Yeah, we got about 20.
I'm like, oh, they got a few miles down before they got to that. I'm like, are you fucking with me right now? Because I'll come back, you know, if I need to, but I'm really, you know, I'm trying to get home. And he's like, no, I'm serious. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to turn around. Then he goes, oh, my God. It sounds just like your kitten voicemail. He goes, oh, my God. Is that a bear? and there's panic in his voice, but I'm
idiot.
But I'm also half convinced now that he's fucking with me. This is a bit. He and Brian are having a good laugh. Yeah, it's a bear. You big idiot. You turned around and now a bear mauled me. He's like, oh. It's a cow.
I've never seen a cow from that angle.
And I'm like, so just to make sure I am coming back to get you at the yes, I need you to go. Okay, I'm like, okay. And then I heard an AK-47, and you guys were killed.
Yeah,
by
we
the cow.
call every black cow we saw from there. Brian's like, oh, there goes another bear. I'm like, real funny, man, real funny. It actually was. We were having anything that can make you giggle out on the trail too. Anything that makes you, anything that takes your mind off your ass.
Yeah.
For
And I think one of the
5
funny
seconds.
things was, too, is I think, like, the first couple miles were always the bad ones, that it was like you would start going and you think that you did 10 miles.
Yeah.
And you look down at your phone and you're like, dude, we went 0.7
That was
mile.
day 2, right? So day 2, you guys are both fucking feeling great. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like, I always said yes. I always knew you were going to make it because people don't know how fucking obstinate both of you fuckers are. Like, I'm like, look, the two of them, I will bet on them before I bet on my most athletic friend. Because
We'll get there.
They're going to fucking, you tell them they can't do it. They're like, you motherfucker, I will kill myself. getting there. So I knew you were going to make it. But it was day 2 when you woke up because that was going to be one of the big tells. Like,
yeah.
All right,
how do we feel?
You rode fucking 80, 90 miles. People don't just do that off the couch. How's your body feel today? You guys both woke up, started
feeling
buttering
great.
up. You
Yeah,
both look.
I was
You were
feeling great.
looking, feeling good. I'm like, these guys got a shot.
Yeah,
They got a fucking
they
real
got a
shot. But
Start
we
of the
also-
second day was just
We're
ass.
also
Really was.
trying to figure out. All right, let's get in front of the lodging. Certainly, the casino's got a room we can get.
Yeah.
Actually, that wasn't so true. I mean, we had to get in the lap of luxury a little bit because there were no basic rooms. You guys deserved it, and I'm like, anyway. But we also had kind of talked about how you need to get about 20 miles, 30 miles past Boonville. Even if I got to pick you up and we go stay at the Isle of Capri, you need to knock out another 20, 30.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're setting yourself up for a century.
For a 90 to 100
on the last day. 105, I think, is what it was going to be. You know, so didn't quite get through.
Well, we
didn't
ate.
Quite get through to it, but
Yeah.
it was day 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we-
So
we
you
ate.
left. You left
We were
Herman.
feeling great.
You left Herman, and What do
We
we?
eat
You
on
both
day 2 in the morning.
felt
Oh, we
great.
didn't eat much. We ate later.
Not a ton. I
We
think
Right.
you got a piece of Casey's breakfast
Yeah.
pizza, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, that was the one with the granola bars. And that was
28
it,
minutes.
Like,
28 minutes.
Couple
Or
of
was
gel
this was day
packs.
3. This was day 3 because I was with you. Yeah. So about you guys both look good again. I'm like, oh shit, you guys are gonna rock because I had to go back to Hillsboro. I wasn't
Yeah.
trailing you guys on. You guys were fucking on your own on day 2, pretty much. I had to
Yeah.
get to you guys a little bit later on, and I did. But when we did the Kmart stop, that was day 3. So Walmart stop. Anyway, you guys were looking good even on day 3. You woke up. I'm like, all right, they slept on a hard mattress last night. How's their body gonna relax
Yeah.
after sleeping in a fucking cloud?
Yeah, that was
Perfect
great.
little
man.
fucking setup. Guys, once again, you're blowing me away. I'm like, God damn, dude. I thought they'd be fucking
We felt good.
crawling.
Yeah.
Crawling. You guys got 24 miles. You're like, I need you to fucking meet me
Oh,
at
yeah.
this trailhead. We're taking a 40-minute break. And I'm like, no, you're not.
Each day we had 2 solid breaks, and those
Oh,
were
yeah.
huge. You had
And I was
learning
fairly
that
close.
was huge.
Sedalia. So I went back. The reason you guys got ahead of me, I had to wait for the bike shop to open to get you guys
Yeah.
some gear. I wish I would have walked over there. It was right where you guys put in Boonville. It's on the fucking trailhead. So I'm like,
really?
Yeah, it was that little train depot. It's got the bike shop
okay.
right there. I go over there, closed till this week. They're opening up the 22nd, I think. I'm like, okay, great. I'm like, well, the one that's in Sedalia is Champion Bicycles too. I guarantee they're not open today. The other fucking bike shop in Sedalia closed until Tuesday. I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't know where I go. I got to work ahead. I got to go to Walmart. I got to get to Walmart and start heading back. And you guys were like, we need to take. At this point, you guys were
I don't
talking
think
about
that their business plan is very good on that trail. If they're on the weekends, they're closing down bike shops.
It was due to COVID. That was the deal.
Never
They were both going to open up, on the 22nd after COVID, whatever. But I think the plan that you guys came up with was like, we got a pretty good pace for how to rest. We're just going to bang out 10, 20-minute rest, 10, 10-minute rest, 10. And it was like the first stop, and you're like, we're taking a 30 or 40. And Brian was broken mentally. I could see you guys were both fucking like you were just at wit's end.
That's when the bugs were
beating the hell out of you.
I could hear them.
You got stung in the
off
nose.
Of his head.
Yeah, got stung in the fucking nose.
I got the video from that. I should have sent it to you. It's funny. I got it. I'll have to show it to you guys sometime.
That was the most unreal thing. Well, the problem is too is that I saw him from here to the camera.
Oh,
and it was like you're going, and it looked like one of those little asshole horse flies. Like where
there are horse flies that go like this, and they just sit in the middle, and then you
They
come
just
at
wait
them.
for you, and they like shoot
and they
at you.
dodge out of the way. But
Right.
some of them are like, mm-mm.
Yeah, I'm the daddy here, boy.
Yeah,
You know?
this is my
Yeah.
part of the trail. What are they doing?
It's being assholes.
Someone figured that out.
That bee was here, and I saw it, and I kind of did one of these to avoid it, and it hit me right inside the nostril right here. And I thought it was just a regular, and it just hurt because it was a bug that hit me inside the nose. And I'm like, oh, God damn, and then all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, I can feel the frickin' poison running through my entire middle of my face, and I'm going, I'm like crying, going down.
He has
I'm
liquids
yelling.
coming out of everywhere.
He's on a good pace. I'm like, and just everything's coming out like I had a stroke.
At first, it was like, I think I got stung.
Yeah.
Oh man. I definitely got stung in my nose. It was like, and then, okay, yeah, it's starting to feel a little better. And I get over there, and he's like, the stinger's still in my nose, dude. Check. Meanwhile, I'm like, hold on, I gotta go live.
I have to get a live of this. I have to get
we
a
have
video.
no reception, so I had to get a video. But he's like, check it.
As a sack of poison is pulsing on the stinger still, just throwing
he's
more
just got
into my
boogers
nose.
flying in and out of his nose like this. I'm like, that's just boogers, dude. And he's like, well, there's a stinger in there. And he's like, and I'm like, every nose hair looks like a bee stinger, dude. I can tell.
At that point, they're probably just going.
And he's going, and at this point, I'm like, did he really get
All right,
stung,
come
or
on.
Did a bug
Yeah,
just
you got
really hit him?
hamming it
And
up a
it
little bit.
starts to swell right at the base of his nose. And he's having a pretty good laugh on the video. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of over it. The initial shock, I'm over it now. And I go, dude, that thing's starting to swell up. And you can see in his face on the video, he's like, that's gonna be trouble down the road. Like my nose swelling up while I'm trying to breathe.
I can't breathe while I'm doing this.
While I'm trying to bike.
The only thing that saved us like multiple times, just yelling at each other. Breathe, dude.
Oh yeah,
Breathe.
we had a whole
Drink
system
water.
of being like, okay, to drink. We both take a drink. Drafting, getting behind each other for mile. That really helped me.
Yeah.
Brian, he's like, I'm following a fucking paperclip through the fucking. He's like, what is?
I get the 150-pound guy.
Yeah. He's like, the air is swirling behind you and making it tougher.
Like,
spinning me
out. It's actually getting me off balance.
I know, I'm like, sorry. I'd get behind him.
Dude, you're putting me in the soft gravel every time you.
I know. And when I'd get behind him, if I went. I was like, shit, I don't even have to pedal. Like I would pedal 3 or 4 times.
You actually told me that. You're like, sometimes I have to slow myself down.
Right, yeah.
He's dragging me.
As I'm side saddle burning up a hill. And he's just like,
I'm like, man, I would take 3 pedals and go and get back.
And then half of the time I would hear, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm like, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, I would just get real close to it.
Like, what happened?
Almost
hit your tire.
Break down a little bit.
Yeah,
remember
almost
how
hit
we
your tire.
touched tires back in the day? You'd ride bikes with your buddies and hit their tire. We came so close to that a few times. Well, one time
that'd have been bad.
I'm behind them and I'm like, I'm gonna do that thing where those guys lay on their seat, like where I could get, and I get my hands up and I'm like, here we go, mother ever. We're going down a hill. I'm like, because downhill, I could almost
on a bike.
pass them. Like that bike, that's what that bike's for. When I was going downhill and I was drafting him, woo, which is really funny.
I'm zippy.
The cyclist on the, I don't know if I said this earlier, but they were like, that's the Ferrari of the.
Yeah.
I might have already said that. I don't know anymore. But it just I get up and I'm like, I get one leg up and he has no idea what's going on and I'm like, because when you're going 12 miles an hour and you hit soft gravel just barely with your tire at an angle, your whole bike's like, we're going down now. But you gotta be like, oh, okay. He turns around like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, I wanted to pass him
just
up
hear a little
laying on this hill.
Laying down like that.
It didn't happen though.
Not time for playing right now.
I still gotta, I know you guys were talking about any weight that you could jettison.
Any weight.
But I'll tell you what, I gotta think, maybe I just don't get the fucking math, the physics on it. But you had to have been way better off on fucking with the same kind of bike setup, but with mountain bike tires, or something that is a little bit more spread out with a little bit more shocks. Like,
I don't know. That was the one thing because somebody asked on one of the pages or whatever that, can I do it in this bike or whatever? I have a mountain bike, and I'm like, dude, we saw every style of bike.
There were.
So, we saw fat tires, we saw skinnier tires. We even saw skinnier tires than the ones that we had.
Yeah.
There was actually like the speed bikes out there that are professionals.
Yeah, there were people
they were
that
flying.
Beach cruisers, older couples, they were doing like 5 miles down.
Yeah.
Probably not even that. Yeah.
That's what I'm so like. Could you go 200? That's what I'm wondering. Could you go 270 miles?
I don't know.
I mean, would it have helped? Like just the impact from not having.
I think sometimes on like the maybe a shock on the front of the bike would have helped a little bit because it was just like when you hit those small like little washouts that were right there.
Yeah,
it was like somebody kicked your bike in the freaking handlebars.
You had to learn
we hit
how
a
to
fucking
take
bump
those.
last night in the mini, and you're like, oh, PTSD.
Yep, it was, dude.
You had to learn how to let your arms loose and your butt loose right as you went over both of them. So your bike goes, but
So
your
your
body
bike takes
didn't
the
take
shock and not
any
your
of
body.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. The bike will take the shock, and then you wouldn't feel it. But if you didn't do that, it was like the Bruce Lee 3-inch punch to your chode when it hit your seat. It was like, right up
that
there.
one
You're
I
like,
hit. That one I hit.
And it'll wreck your momentum.
He looks
for a
back
while.
at me, and I'm like, I am done for a second.
Yep.
I'm like, that just
I know that
freaking,
feeling.
that was just a donkey punch to the chode, dude.
Yeah, it is. Like, because it's being
so
berated the
bad.
whole time. It's just
And it
getting
was just
slapped.
loss of momentum, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
You hit, and then you were done, and you were
defeating.
like, oh.
So defeating.
And you're in that bad gear then.
Yeah,
now and you don't want to change anything, and you're like, oh, I was in the perfect gear. Because when you hit 2-1 on those damn gears, it
Brian
will really
had a gear that kept
piss you
failing
off.
him, where he'd be cruising and he'd be like, this gear is on. He'd be going real fast, click it up, and then he'd be like,
Right. It was like there was.
Rachel wants you to tell the spider story.
Oh my God!
Oh,
I saw the
Jesus.
most entertaining thing. You're loopy after a while. This is on day 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I think that was day 2. That was
okay.
That might have been the end of day 2.
So Brian is riding. Yes, it was near the nighttime, and during the night, the spider webs. I freaked
They
out.
throw them up. That's when they throw them up. It's like
I
6, 7 o'clock.
freaked out about 10 miles from you guys. I go, hey man, I got to stop. Like we were about 9 miles away. We wanted to stop one more time. I go, dude, I got to stop. And I took my headband and I was like, just running because I had so many spider webs attached to me. You couldn't.
And they were so thick,
They
too.
were the thickest ones I had ever experienced, to where you're like
dental
I
floss.
can't get these off of me. They're tying me up. Our bikes are just covered in like tinsel. You know, we're like, oh my, this is insane. With my light though, I could almost see them. So I'd be like, Brian, duck, because we were getting them. The trees weren't up at that point. These were all across somehow,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what the shit?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just the spider's finish line for us. This is great. And about an hour into that, I'm like, I hope every fucking spider on Earth dies, dude. I hope they all perish.
Or you just turn to say something to each other and be like, hey, wham, and take one right in the
dude, it was
frickin' mouth,
horrible.
dude.
So okay, that happened with the spider webs at night. During the evening, I guess, of maybe night 2, there's a spider about this big, you know, kind of a decent sized spider. And I see it hanging off Brian's bike. It's like where his pedal arm meets the bike, like where that chain is.
Right by the cam.
Look at you. So I see it, and it's falling off the back end, right, of the bike. And it's going, and it's pulling itself back up.
I
right?
can't see any of this either.
He can't see it, and I'm like,
because once again, I'm in the lead.
I'm in my own head, and I'm like, damn, that thing's like trying to get its way back up to Brian's bicycle. So he's pulling his way up. Well, it's pulling itself up to Brian's pedal, to his foot. And like every time Brian would pedal, the thing would go, you know, and kind of it would get closer. And with each pedal, it'd get closer. And I'm like, Brian, that spider's about to get your foot, dude. And he'd go, and shake it away. And it would go out a foot behind his bike. And I'm like, he got it. Sure as shit, he'd be cooking so much that the spider'd pick up in the wind, and here he comes again, man. He's just pulling himself back up, and he's further back, and Brian's kind of moving away, and it reminded me of like all the old Western movies where they're lassoing on and they're hanging on, and you think, you know, Brian's like, that spider's gone. In my head, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, finally got rid of him, and the spider's like, oh, you fucking think
You
so.
think so, boy.
And he crawls up, and finally it gets like, I'm like, Brian, it's on your leg now, dude. He got it. Because I was giving him the play-by-play the whole time.
Yeah,
like,
he couldn't see anything.
He's about 6 inches away, dude. And I'm like, oh, he's not getting any closer. No, he's getting close. He's getting. He just had to like take a breather for a second. Like, okay, man. So then he finally gets on his leg, and Brian's like, get the hell off of me. And then it was gone, and I'm like, no.
It was entertainment for you to pass the.
Dude, I was living and dying with this spider at that point. I'm like, oh man, that was cool. 40 miles left.
Somebody do something stupid again.
That was fun.
So, do you guys want to go to commercial and then wrap it up, or do you want to?
Listen, I could wrap it up right now. I could go back to sleep.
Yes.
Right now. I slept all day. I could. My body.
I
is
have myself a
exhausted.
nice little. I got up. I pulled in at 5:16 this morning, and I got up at like 9:30, and I'm like, okay, I was cool, man. I got a day. I thought I was gonna fucking be out until.
Yeah.
And I had a little bite to eat, and I went and laid back down. It's like 4:15. I'm like, oh man, Steve and I got a show tonight, man.
People thought I was dead.
Yeah,
We're
your wife
calling
was
friends.
concerned.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I did just ride a bike across the state. You know, maybe I need to get some sleep. I don't know. Whatever.
That was one of the things with the sleeping though. Like the first night, I was so tired. It was like I was falling asleep, but then you're like, dude, if I fall asleep, am I gonna wake up? You know what I mean? Like I just did that to my body today, and I was like,
yeah. Did
I was
you
like,
actually think
like,
I knew I was gonna survive. I'm never gonna die.
I'm a lot older.
I think before we go to break, I mean, you guys have told a couple of the great tales. What's going through your mind here? I mean, I'm feeling good about you guys. After we ate at Applebee's, we get you back on the trail.
Applebee's.
And Trev and I pull up to the next town. That's Leeton. Leeton doesn't really have a place to park. It had no, trailhead. I had a trailhead because you guys ended up stopping there. But I was parked in like a place called Radical Rides. Dude was pretty cool. Like, he comes up with his son. And I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to be weird and camp out in your parking lot or anything, but my two idiot friends are riding from St. Louis to Kansas City on their bikes, and they don't even ride bikes. I just need a place to make sure that I'm kind of the sag car.
They're alive.
And this guy's like, hey, dude, it's all good. I don't know what the hell they're thinking, but it's all good. You can sit here as long as you want. Cool. So I'm kind of tracked. It was the only time GPS didn't completely fucking betray us as a team,
Yeah.
I go live. I see you guys. I'm like, I'm thinking here within the next 4 minutes, guys. And as soon as I go live, I give them a little shot, and there you guys are. Whoa, just ripping. I'm like, yeah, we're honking. Everybody's fucking going crazy on the thing. I'm like,
that's awesome.
Oh, guys, if only we could do this every time. Sorry. That's as good as it's going to get on the coverage. I go to the next place. You guys, the time you made from Sedalia to Leeton was,
we were
we were in a good spot on that.
You were
one.
hauling
pushing
the
each
mail.
other.
I was
we were
feeling
going side
really
by side,
good.
and we'd
And
be like,
at that point, there was almost 60 miles to go. I think 50 miles to go.
Yeah.
And so
we knew we had to get some.
You
miles
needed to
in.
get some miles in. You guys hunkered down. That was fucking awesome. And then Steve and I go to the next spot, and there was like, or Trevor and I go to the next spot, and the place that it leads me once again is not the trailhead. I found the trailhead across the street. It just parks me in front of this giant take of anhydrous ammonia. It's a fucking meth head's heaven.
50 of them.
The 50 of them, and one of them had spigots on them.
Oh my god.
They had spigots on them. I'm like, what is going on? I'm looking around for cameras at this point. I'm like, what the fuck kind of trap is this,
Well, when we went by that, I assumed it would be like me seeing a field of weed. You know what I mean? Like, like a meth guy being like, what is that? Beautiful.
Dude, flowers.
Walter White's wet dream, dude. So then you guys got there. We got a little massage down, got a couple snacks in you. And then at that point, you had 27 miles to go. At that point, you got to be feeling pretty good about yourself. The start of day 3 had to suck probably the worst. I would think. I don't know. I don't want to speak for you. Or maybe like.
No, I think halfway through day 3 is
I was
where.
going to say after the first stop of day 3, because you guys had grand plans on how far you were going to get in the morning from Boonville to Sedalia.
Right before.
The plan was before I was going to meet you.
Sedalia was the breaker
I was
for
gonna
me.
Meet you in Sedalia.
We got lost in Sedalia.
Yeah.
And then it was like.
That was when we all got chippy.
Yeah. That's when I took off from you again, and
me and Brian went opposite ways in Sedalia, and I'm like, holy shit!
The
and I Facebook Lived you, and I was like, hey, try to find me. It could be good content trying to find us. And then I turned around and I go, I don't know where Brian's at, and we're in Sedalia. Somehow, some way, I'm going up a street, and I see Brian coming up, and Brian's like, Jesus fucking Christ! Can't even get around, get away from this fucking guy in Sedalia. I fucking just went and turned some opposite direction. I'm like, hey, Brian, I found you.
The game plan Sunday morning was to get you guys on the trailhead. 9 o'clock, I was going to get you the gear that you needed, and I was going to meet you in Sedalia. By that time, because you were on the road about 7:30, I think.
Yeah, right at 7:30 we got on.
7:30 you guys got on the trail. So the plan was you're going to get 36 miles to Sedalia. I'm going to meet you there with all of your supplies. I go. I can't find the bike store, but I did go to Sedalia already because I knew they'd have to have a Walmart. Walmart Supercenter. We luck out on a bunch of shit.
Good
luck
shit.
out big time because I couldn't find any bicycle shit anywhere. Found it on the last aisle I walked out of. I'm like, okay, fucking awesome.
Well, why would you keep looking down aisles if you found the stuff? Like, obviously, it's gonna be the last aisle.
Oh yeah, well, that's true. Well,
that's weird. It was in the last place that I looked.
Yeah. Anyway, so.
Gotta be somewhere.
Jump in the car. I'm heading to the Sedalia Trailhead. That's when you call me and you go, you got to come to such and such trailhead.
We need you here.
And I'm like, you guys are supposed to be in Sedalia.
Yeah.
Where are you? And you're like, no. We're taking about a 30-minute. We're going to take a long one this time.
And you're like, well, it's going to take me about 25.
I was like, I said, I'm
26
minutes from you. And you're like, that'll work just fine. And so at that point, I knew that whatever game plan we had was going to have to shift a little bit because there's only so many hours in a day. And so that's where I was wondering. I was like, okay, can't be the breaking point. You're almost there.
Yeah, no.
But we do have to start having a conversation about if we're going to get this done today.
Yep.
Or if I need to get a fucking room tonight. Because we're going to ride across the state.
We buttered our asses up. At least I buttered my ass up with that one cream, the medicated cream, and it was
chamois butter.
I
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And even the chamois butter was. The chamois butter, I didn't think made too big of a difference for me. I didn't have any chafing. I didn't have anything rubbing. I had nothing rubbing the seat. Like
kept
the way
you from
I was
getting galded.
The way I was going, I didn't really. The seat was fine. The gel seat was fine. Everything was great. I bought the last gel seat at the last bike store.
Yeah, I was standing there reaching for it.
I wish I paid a better.
Got the salesperson to come over and hit me out of the way.
Days live. I would have got you a gel seat way before that, Brian. Like, why you waited until?
I know you saw my seat. You're like, "Are you crazy?"
I did. It was day 3. Nothing. It was before.
I'm like, dude, I'm already in this like a day and a half. I'm numb as hell.
And I'm like, "Where's your gel pad, bud?"
I know.
Hey, bud, there's moose out there.
Don't you know?
So, fucking went and find you a gel. That one place. I made one stop, Brian. Yeah. Meet you guys. We're way behind schedule, and you guys you're busted. You're busted. And it ain't even your legs; it's your shoulders and back.
Oh, dude,
everything's uncomfortable.
I still got it, man. Like in the middle of my neck, dude.
My shoulder,
boy.
There's no comfortable way on a bicycle.
To wrap it up, you guys are the last part of the trail is arguably the hardest. You got 10 miles in between each of them.
That was my hardest.
You got 17 and a half miles. What's going through your mind? I'm letting you know, hey, we're posting up. I got there. I got to see our Springfield crew. Jennifer Barrett came. She brought her friend Elise. Jessica Evans.
Thank those people so much. Thank you guys.
Yeah, that was unbelievable, man.
That made me emotional.
Oh, it did, absolutely. I mean, that's
seeing everybody come together.
Hospitality
Trevor
was
at this
ridiculous.
point has been a trooper. I mean,
I
we
know.
couldn't do anything. I thought we were going to kind of have downtime, but the way that it works, like in order to be at the next spot, because the road is so far away from this trail, it's not like I can just zip up on you and be like, here you go, here's some water.
Yeah.
You know, I can't do that. I can only get to you at the trailheads. There's a few places where it crosses over the road. And so we didn't really have any downtime. So Trev was a trooper. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. It was the last day. He's like, hey, Dad, can I watch like some YouTube or something? And I'm like, I'll do you one better. I got Netflix on my phone, bud. I don't know what I'm thinking. We could have got to these trailheads. We put on like Wreck-It Ralph in that last trip. Yeah. What was the last? Not Pleasant Hill, but it was
before
Pilot Grove or something. Yeah. I'm not sure. Whatever it was. And you guys pulled in. He's watching that. And I'm like, at this point, I mean, it's like at this point you're about to take a knee. You're up 2 touchdowns. You're done. You got 17 and a half miles, barring anything crazy. You're finishing this thing. I'm excited to like have friends at the end to hang out with while you guys are getting there. That turns into a whole deal because
we came up from behind them.
Damn.
That video was hilarious. I rewatched that video.
Well, dude, we're gonna make a video, put those side by side, where you guys are coming in and I'm running away. And Trevor's wearing flip flops. His flip flops.
And then he's like, "Carry me, Dad." And you're like, "Oh, all right, I'll carry you."
I'm wheezing for 200 yards,
sprinting with a kid on his back.
Well, I think the worst part about it was too that the actual last 2 miles maybe were pretty good downhill. I mean, we were like it was either flat or it was a small decline, you know? So it was like, ooh, we got this. We're looking at the phones, and he's like, how much you got, man? I'm like, we got 4 minutes left. 4 minutes seems like a freaking hour at that time, you know? But we're pumped up, talking about it. Once again, slam on the brakes. There's a freaking fence right here with an arrow that says go this way. And we're like,
right at
what
the end of our thing, dude.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to have just a 4 minute. Yeah.
No, I mean they were right across.
We had glow balloons set up along the trail.
You could see them
for you to come in.
Oh shit!
Jennifer Barrett brought all kinds of stuff. Chris Smith showed up there. He had the tunes queued up so that and he had his lights shining down the path so you guys can come in. We had 104 people watching a live, and you're like, dude, you're buzzing me, and I'm like,
snuck up on him.
Hey, bud, I'm on a live with 104 people, bud.
Yeah.
What do you need? And you're like, where are you guys? I'm like, literally where the trail ends.
We were at a road at that point. We're like, which way now? We know we're
I'm
close.
like, we got to go left. We got to go on this little road, and then we got to go to like 8th Street and make a left and come down and make a left on Commercial or something. I'm like, I don't know, dude. You want to go in the road? And he's like, turn your blinking light on, man. We're doing this.
Yeah, because he had a back blinking light. I had the front light. So if we stayed together on the road, because we heard horror stories along the way of like, don't go on the road, man. It may seem really nice to get on that pavement for a minute, but it only takes one wrong move and you're fucking toast.
You saw the way that the Mini eats in the corners. Not everybody's car does that.
Exactly.
Stay off the fucking road. There is no shoulder.
In some parts there is a shoulder, and it says, hey, you can go up here. But even then, you're like, fuck this, man. This is uncomfortable.
Dude in a pickup that's all pissed up.
We had
after
beers
beating
on
his
the
wife.
fence waiting for you. There's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. It would have been great to go that way, but he also said that he looked down there.
It was really cool.
He said it was like a freaking hill of just loose gravel. I'm like, if I would have hit that, I would have just turned back around and went home.
It wasn't a big hill, but it was one of those that you were talking about. Like, it looks kind of flat, but I think you were on a little bit of an upcline. It was pretty neat though, the way that it wraps around into. That's the Cass County Fairgrounds or something where we ended up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, anyway, what's going through your mind? Like, as you're like 2 miles out, you know the everything's.
Day 3 is tough because you know that's the day it's gonna end. I knew we were gonna end that day. I just I was like, I'm just gonna go through the night if we have to. I was waiting patiently for that adrenaline spike of, you know, if you've ever run track or like even like I imagine in horse racing, like when you want to go to the whip, which is whatever, that's a time for different. But when you want to really put it on for that, because you know you're competitive, and when you get that extra juice right there at the end, you're like, I can do anything, and you're exhausted, but you got that one shot left that you're gonna give it. Because we started cooking at the end, I think, knowing, at least for me, that this is over soon. Leave it all out here. I've always been a guy who's like, after the game, I want to be
I wanted to come in strong, too, just so these people are like, you kidding me? Just came in at 15 miles an hour?
Sure.
Yeah.
And we did, and it was, the struggle was, when am I going to, the whole day was, this is tough. When am I know there's a peak right up there where I'm going to be on that downhill climb, and I don't want to hit that too quick, because when you amp yourself up in the first period, the third period comes and they score 3 goals and you're done.
Gassed.
The game's over. So I need to get myself right to the edge of that red line, and that's where having him, you know, he'd hear me breathe and he'd go, you got it, man. You got it. Breathe again. And I'd be like, okay. You know, same thing for him drinking. And then I know in my own head, when your bike and my tire would be like right in front of each other, it was kind of like, okay, we're kind of jockeying for position here. We don't want to burn ourselves out, but we also want to push ourselves because we know we have some fucking mileage left. And me, it's very simple in my head to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. It's what I do. I just pick something to do, and I do it. To have somebody else like you with the show, I can't believe you've just been willing to be like, I've always had these ideas to create content and do different things ever since I was in high school. No one's just stuck around for it. To have someone be like, I'm sticking around for this. I'm as into it as you are. It's like, you are? Okay. Yeah. And that's having you on the trail. I was like, this dude just don't fucking quit either. He's just one guy who's not gonna quit.
If I could have found somebody to give me action, I'd have fucking bet.
Yeah,
I would have bet
totally,
because you guys would get it done in 3 days. Because I know again. Yeah. It is not because you're good people or that you're good athletes. No. It's because you're obstinate little fucking jerks.
Yep. Whatever we can do that people say, oh, you think yeah, and no one said that to me. That's in my own head. I made that up.
Sure, naturally.
Like, yeah. And so that last, and then when we finally hit that point where we took that last break, got all the spider webs off us, and we had 9.8 left, and you're like, dude, we got an hour. It says we got 54 minutes.
Yeah, we'll be there at 8:58 or something, 8:48.
Yeah, and
it's
like
let's at that pace that we were just at, and it was a good pace. So let's just do that.
And we did that, and that was the time I'm like, whoo! Here come the emotions. Like, we're doing this. It's gonna be over soon, because I'm just realizing this about myself now. I don't really think too far. I never thought about the end the whole time. I was never really like, Can't wait to
it
get
was
to
just
the
the
end.
next mile in front of
Can't
me.
No,
wait to-
I went like town by town.
Yes,
That's what it was. Every time we got to a new one, I would go, okay, what's the next one? Put it in my GPS. I did it individually.
And it was just one. I was getting to the point where I was like
check them off.
How many pedals have you gone? You know, fucking last 100 pedals. You know what I mean? Okay, we're just taking it in stride. Oh, this little part I can see the top of. Okay, cool. We're gonna take it to there.
Get to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's like, cool, new scenery around me. Breathe in this air. How much history is in this area alone?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I've gone a little bit more. Now, okay, push
And they're
this-
all
Old electrical
towns that
poles
depended
and
on
all
that
kinds of
railroad.
stuff.
They're all towns that like
towns that were bustling at one point.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
they all.
We
as
saw all those old telephone poles that were like
Oh,
really
crazy,
freaking, really old.
Some neat. If you guys get the opportunity to go down the Katy
cool way to see
Trail
Missouri.
and own in any form, do it. And
If we had
you're
more
so
time
many-
to stare at that stuff, man, I'd.
So
Would you do it again if it was over the course of a week? Camp
Absolutely.
a couple times.
1 million.
We talked about that on
I'll
the
do
trail.
it over the course of a week.
Yeah, we talked about it on the trail. We're like, this would be just
we can even
perfect for the family.
take out my prototype seat.
Oh, Craig, and I don't know if you were awake for it last night. In the
No, he
car.
wasn't, so he's out.
Okay, settle
He's
down.
out. He doesn't get any of it.
I was recording.
He's out. He doesn't get any dollars.
Craig and I were talking. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, how you feeling or whatever.
Don't tell.
Don't?
anything. Don't tell what
Not
it is.
yet. Okay.
Are you crazy?
But we came up with a new idea for a bicycle seat. And it's not a dildo.
Those already.
So you're talking about we're talking about the same conversation that me and you had on the trail, where I said, "Man, I wish there was some kind of scientist with all the money that's out there and all the geniuses that are out there."
Did you
that
come
could,
up with an actual seat idea though?
not the actual, but I put
Yeah, I
I
came up
planted
with the
that
idea.
freaking
Yeah, I'm
seed in
sure-
your head, and
Yeah,
you were
you-
like,
I'm sure a lot
hey,
of people.
Hey, we know that this guy's still got oxygen in his head.
You put the idea out there.
lot.
Guess what we came up with? We got this idea for something.
Hey, let's go to break and.
Can we end this?
Yeah, I wish
Yeah.
you fucking would.
Do we
Oh,
not
you
have to
mean
do
the
stream?
show?
Yeah.
No, we don't have to do stream picks because I don't have one. But
Yeah. Yeah, I
why don't
didn't-
you? What does it feel like riding into Kansas City and then seeing everybody and like, I mean, look, I know why you did it to start, but like, did it become something different by the time it ended?
I don't know about that. I think that I obviously love attention and love all that stuff. Obviously, it's just like I love to entertain. I'm willing to be the guy in the room who's making a lot of noise. A, because I kind of dig it, and B, I don't want, like a lot of times that would come like if someone was getting picked on or something, I'd be like, hey, I'm an idiot over here and I'm loud. And it would take, I could tell that kid was like, fucking thank you, dude.
Thanks,
like it
bro.
took a little bit. And then I went, telling people, I was like, I went the other route for a while in college where I was like, fuck you, motherfucker. Like, you're a piece of shit and make fun of people. And I learned both sides of that. What we've built with the community and what Brian means to the Spanish Society and that community and what you guys have done with your washer tournaments and just the little ripple effects of love that everybody's living their own reality. And that's one thing we saw on the trail too. Everybody has their own little carved out section of the world of the trail, and they each had a billion experiences that led them up to these little moments as we're just riding our bikes by all of these realities going on. And you see these towns where we were talking about, like, could you imagine living in a town like this and playing sports and doing that, and like old Susie from down the block, and this is where your kids live, and how different it is and how their experiences are far different than ours and their views are going to be so different than ours, and all of this stuff, bringing all of that together and seeing how much it really means to people. Because you can always kind of say, yeah, man, I'm in. You did something good. Good job. Everything's kind of fleeting. Everything's kind of like, good job, good. How much impact can you really have? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that was awesome. Made me feel good for a minute. You're doing good things. Cool. I won't think about that ever again. The one thing I felt different about this is that it was something everybody could get on board with. Everybody could kind of rally around. That from the beginning, it was like, yeah, these idiots are getting on their bikes. I kind of saw something at it. Hopefully by the end of it, you were like, oh my God, are these guys going to actually
did it.
do it?
Yeah.
Holy, I wasn't thinking about it. And
It was
I want
a snowball that was definitely happening.
Yes, and I want the thing that people think about when they think about, that was so fun that weekend. What do those guys stand for? Oh, they stand for just loving each other, just making the world a little better. They're still shitheads, but man, they do their best to kind of say, hey, look at me. The world's not so bad. And so I hope that the people who really got on board at the end, that it has some sort of ripple effect, that we all just go out and try to make things a little bit sweeter for the person next to them and for people that they may not even know, 100%. That they may not know that they affect.
To go along with that, too, it's like maybe somebody was having a bad weekend this weekend, too, and just watching us and paying attention to us or whatever and just taking that. I mean, somebody could have lost a loved one, something like that or whatever, but that was the thing that took it off of their mind is watching us go down this trail, too. I mean, that's a little bitty piece of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I felt like at some points I was
we started hearing that. Like, people are like, dude, I'm following you. Every stop you're on, every blah, blah. I'm like, what?
I felt like
people were tuning in. You were. I mean, it was interesting in the beginning, like always. Like, oh, these guys are live again. Whatever. Like the first time you went on, it's like, oh, Hoosier Sophisticate's live again. They're being crazy. 3 videos in, starting to be about 15, 16 for each one of them. Yeah. 5 videos in, 21, 23. You're watching it slowly climb, and that's pretty. They hung out in the 20s, just like kind of live, but the views are climbing in the analytics.
Yeah.
And then by the end, people were so fucking jazzed that you guys were coming in. There's a lot of build up. I go live before I find out that you're lost, and dude, the numbers were just.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, holy shit, these fucking 2 Goombas did it. Like,
and that's another weird thing. I have all these ideas. You know me. I'm like,
you're an idea guy.
Rapid fire idea guy.
Yeah. Sorry, it's not 2 of our biggest problem. We're both idea guys.
Yeah, I know. Well, you're an idea perfecter, which I needed that in my life.
He's a smoover.
Yeah.
I'm a producer.
But the idea that this was just like, I remember thinking it one day, like, man, I'm gonna rollerblade across the state for Backstoppers, and in my head, I'm like, if all things go according to plan, I'll be able to create a little buzz, and by the end, they're like, oh fuck, this guy actually did it, and it kind of worked out that way. And I'm not a planner by any means necessary. I'm more of a scientist. I'm like a soul scientist. I
don't think you could have
spiritual
scientist.
In 3
days.
No way.
No, listen, if it was pavement, I think I could have done it.
In 3 days, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think I could
have
have
done
done
to
it.
average 14 miles an hour still.
I could have went as fast as I went on that bike and rollerblades. There's no doubt in my mind. 10, 12 miles. I used to run in high school 12 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour, running 6-minute miles. That's what blew me the fuck away. When I was cooking at 10 miles an hour, I'm like, dude, you used to run this fast. 2 miles. It used to for 2 miles of that track.
But not for 270 miles.
Not at all. But I'm saying, like, that's lightning for 2 fucking miles. That's insane. And now I'm so out of shape. Like you're saying, we got off the fucking couch and just did it. And that's another thing. I hope people go, well, shit.
Yep.
I know Brian and Steve. They're nothing spectacular. They just did something pretty unreal. Yeah. What can I do? That was kind of a weird thing we talked about. Like,
that was the good one that Shelly Fletty, remember, sent us that thing and said, I haven't been on my bike in forever or whatever. And she goes, we just went out and did 20 miles or whatever.
Nate Zier rode 60, and he goes, I cycle often. I'm spent. I'm donating money now. That was the deal.
I feel so bad for them.
You guys pulled in, and it was like this. It was this fuck. I mean, it was a massive accomplishment. It's an accomplishment for anybody that does it. People that cycle all the time. It's an accomplishment for people that haven't ridden bikes in 10, 15 years. Like, it is. It could be worthy of a Today Show story. Like, it's that rare that 2 guys just fucking up and do something like this. I found myself becoming more and more proud to be associated with it, and to it's a weird thing, and I think maybe it's something I should strive more for. But like, to be proud of your peers, being proud of your kids is something that comes naturally to us as dads. Even like being proud of like your parents for like understanding something that probably should have missed their generation. Yeah. It's not often that you look kind of to your side and you're like, man, they really make me proud. Man. You can be like, dude, that's my guy right there. Like,
and I could feel it. I could feel that they meant the magnitude of their.
Chris Smith said, he goes,
dude, when we pulled in there, that was unreal. The feeling of like that. I mean, and just him saying, dude, you have made a whole bunch of people proud. You've inspired a bunch of people. I was like,
And Brian's like, "What was your name again, sir?"
Yeah, I
like
don't even know
I
who
met
you
you
are.
once or twice. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
and they're like,
not
I don't
out
know
of any
Brian.
kind of like disdain for the man or
Yeah,
anything,
no. He's
like,
like,
out of disrespect. But
Yes.
it was like, my brain's not working, and who the hell are you?
Yeah,
I
and-
appreciate the compliment.
And then people were saying online, like, I don't know Brian that well, but god damn, I'm proud of that guy.
Yeah.
Like, he did it, and I'm like, and people will say, oh, I'm proud of you. You did a show, or you made a video, or you did something good one time. This, I could tell, and they were saying the same words, but I could feel the magnitude behind
They were almost
what
like
they were
glowing
saying.
when we rolled. They were more happy than we were when we
We've
rolled
had
in there.
we've
for
had
real.
moments like that, Brian. Like I
was
think
pretty
back
happy.
to Steve and I have had moments like that, like at Cotillion, where like you're kind of looking at the peak of the moment, and you're like, "Oh fuck, drink this in for a second, bud. We're doing something
Drink
pretty neat
it
here.
in.
We're doing something pretty neat here." And Brian, you and I at the end of the Washer tournament, 3 a.m, singing
Yeah.
Dean Martin with a good buzz. We're like, "Fuck, we did it, babe."
Yeah.
This one was a little bit different because the money is kind of secondary. You guys are up to $6,340.
We're going to keep it open for a while after.
That is not including $500 that was pledged to us off, and some other money that was pledged to us, and a potential big announcement made. This thing's going to stay open for a month. We're going to see if we can get there.
Why don't we have a party at the Spanish Society on Friday?
It's my birthday. It's your birthday. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But before I make plans for my
Keep
wife,
it open till then.
hey,
You know what I
before
mean,
make-
at least, right?
Oh, I'm going to be out of town this weekend.
Are you? Oh, you got a golf tournament.
Oh, we don't need you.
Well, I could leave after the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need you.
We can do something like that.
I'll be there.
Brian, it's your birthday. It's my birthday.
my
Let's get
Spanish
loose,
City.
buddy.
Yeah, why not? Let's keep
Get some
doing it.
treats up.
I want to get it. That's the only thing
Listen.
that bums me out. And I knew we wouldn't probably do it.
No,
but I
you
thought
set
by
a
the
big
slim
goal.
chance.
I love the goal too, because I mean I was questioning in my head, like, okay, if you put 100, do people feel like their $10
Not even making it,
donation
yes.
is not
Make
going to
sure it's
get
open,
it? But you know, but if you put 10, like, people are like, they're pretty close. Let's get them over the edge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
But-
feel like
and
there is
that's
a
why
steamroll
That's why
effect.
I kept
Or
saying
snowball.
something along the lines of like, hey, don't let that $100,000, freak you out and donating $1. You know,
I loved seeing all the because I'd get service every once in a while. That was
and all the
huge,
donations
too.
would come in.
Yes, and then I'd see them on the email, and I'm like, oh shit, people are into
Normally
it.
when you went live, it was like every time you went live, it was like all of those would start populating
Yeah,
into
dude,
the thing.
that
And I'm
was
like,
so
oh, this
cool.
is so neat.
Yeah.
So
I
this is how
know.
it works.
People
Yeah.
care.
But
What'd you
in
do
this
while we're
particular
rolling?
instance, like, what was different than the Washer tournament, which we've got coming up September 26th. If people want to be a part of raising some money, this one's going straight to Aubrey. You guys know the family. We've been talking about it all along.
I mean, that shit inspired me
September
to do these
26th
for real.
And
we're
please
gonna
show up too, man. I've talked to John here over the last couple days, and I'm not going to put their stuff out on the whatever. But it's a struggle.
If you
So,
can help anybody
you know what I
that
mean?
can't make the trip, like, anything you can donate, Brian and I will find a way to come pick it up and get it for the silent auctions, raffles, things like that. Those things are the big money grabs. We got 50,
while we're on that
shots. Go
subject
ahead.
too, anything for a friend, man. I called them up again for these guys, AFAF Foundation, $2,500 going to the Matthews family.
Hell yeah, dude.
How about that?
Boom.
Boom.
Just like that.
So boom, we've started with $2,500 for that.
Yep.
Damn.
Already.
But the point is like all of those things, they kind of had this. Cotillion, we look back on this thing that we created, and you're like, we're creating, and you're like, we're like, fuck yeah. And we always get this moment, just the two of us. And you and I always get this moment after the Washer tournament, just the two of us. And it's awesome. This one's different, though. What was different about this one was like the raising the money part's like kind of cool. Yeah, okay. We were celebrating at all the stops, like, oh fuck, dude, got another couple hundred. You guys are up $5,000. Keep pushing, dude. But for the people watching, it wasn't even that. Like, we weren't fucking looking at the line trying to get to $100,000 or $10,000 or anything. We were watching two dudes doing the craziest shit ever physically to their body, and we're like, no, this is the story I'm invested in, and it just so happens to be raising a shitload of money. This is fucking awesome. And I think leaving it open smart, dude. Backstoppers catches one of this. We're at least going to leave it open until we make a video.
Charlie Metzer did post that. He tagged the
St. Louis Hero Network
Backstoppers in it too.
Okay.
Awesome.
So,
and
was on
here's the
his
deal.
page.
We'll clip down a video. We've got so many videos, and also videos shot by other people.
Yeah.
Mix that
I'll
all
make a
together,
little movie.
put it out, and make a nice little 10-minute movie of of this journey.
Oh, you know us.
fucking
It's going to be
see, it'll
45
40
minutes.
minutes, guys.
Yeah.
Our 30-second commercials always go 2 minutes.
3 minutes. Yeah.
So, but we can't. It's hard to cut. It's hard
You
to
can't
delete.
cut any of
It's
our
hard to
stuff
delete.
out.
It's too good.
It's too good.
It's too good. I got one moment of the trip we probably could have cut out and saved ourselves a little bit of hassle. Just one little part on the video. But this one was different, dude. We were watching it was like watching a sports event. It was. It was like at this point now you're just. It was like that last day for me. I was a season ticket holder. You know what I mean? And I was like, they're finally gonna win the fucking series, boys.
Right.
Yes, you know, like I've been here for this.
That's the exact feel I had. Like that run of
the Blues win the cup.
Man,
Yeah.
that's the way. And I was saying I like attention and stuff, but when people are actually proud of you and like, dude, you did a good thing, it's like, ooh, I'm uncomfortable with
you're
that.
normally looking for attention because people are not proud of you.
Yes, you're like, yes, that's my
right,
childhood.
And it's just like
and then when
smoke
people
and
are
mirrors.
when people are actually like, you did a good thing, I'm like, ugh. But learning all that too, like just being supported by the people that we have around us to support us now is it's better than any dream come true. Like, it's hard to explain and put into words the love that you really feel from people that, owe you nothing. There's nothing really there, nothing to be gained or lost, really. But
dude, the messages
but
along the way,
there.
too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just people texting me, people calling me, talking to Adam Bundren, and that was like a shot of freaking adrenaline, too, man. And it was like, dude, thank you so much. I mean, just a man who's not afraid to tell you that he loves you, and that's a strong thing, and it's a hard thing for some guys to do.
I think that's something we celebrate in this group.
Right, and we
dude.
do celebrate that a lot, and I didn't grow up like that. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that was one of the things I think that I lacked, but it was like, when you hear it from your buddies like that, where they're like, dude, I'm proud of you, go. You know what I mean? And you're like, fuck yeah, I'm going to. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to fail you.
Yeah,
I
know.
That's what it was.
We could see it. It was fucking inspiring. It was. I was really reflecting on it last night. Like, I quite, like during the drive and everything, I was just fucking thinking. I'm like, this is so. It's just I always like to sit in like new emotions, and I didn't know what that emotion was.
That's
great point. I wanted to be there. I did. There's no. I'm a fucking lesser man.
We'll get you a Vespa next time.
Yeah. Get a little fucking.
I think you're gonna lift a seat. Let's go next to us and squirt the water in our mouth.
There's always usually are those guys on the trail for those guys.
A little recumbent bike probably would
just baby bird us every once in a while.
But so like there was this thing where I found myself more and more envious towards the end. I'm like, what a fucking story to be able to tell your grandkids. I mean, as a true son, we talk about the true sons. Like, there's probably, as far as being a Missourian, that's about as cool way as you can see in Missouri.
That is cool.
I mean, there ain't a lot of people that can say they've done it, and I mean, or walked it or jogged it or fucking what. Like, that is you crossed the state of Missouri without a motor vehicle. Now I got a fucking thing to shoot for. It was one of those things where I'm like, it was inspiring in more ways than just being like, fuck, you need to do more physical things so that you can fucking maybe be on board for this. It was also, you need to challenge yourself to do something really hard, and you'll probably be rewarded with this fucking great story. The hardest shit always ends up being the best story. The worst, like the things that we can laugh at 20 years later that seemed like the worst thing in the world before, like, it's just such a great lesson. We talk about not getting caught in comfort. There wasn't anything comfortable about your guys' trip.
No doubt.
Even when we had a palatial room, you couldn't. You guys were delirious. You couldn't sleep. It was midnight, and you're like, fucking wired.
It's
noises
weird.
Be damned. Like, you got your bodies were
electrolytes
just
going everywhere.
Your body's just pulling levers. Like, you're just trying to figure out what's going on. There wasn't anything comfortable about it. But now you can be like, hey, I fucking went across this whole awesome state. Got to see all of it, and I didn't do it with the help of a motor.
And when you bust your ass like that too, you become so tired that I think I've started to think a lot of our problems are from You got a dog with a lot of extra energy.
You're
that
bored.
dog shits,
Your problem is
bites,
you're bored.
tears shit up. You walk that dog around 100 times. The dog sleeps. It's the greatest dog you ever had.
It's a good dog.
I started to feel that about myself
Yeah.
because I became so tired that even when I would look at my phone, for which I didn't get to look at my phone that much, but sometimes I'll be scrolling through and be like, man, fucking, that pisses me off. Fuck, I'm gonna say something right. No, fucking, don't say anything. Yeah. I was
you
so
didn't
tired.
Even want to smoke CBD.
No, I know. I was like, well, I have my card, so you can say anything now. But I was like, cannabis is a fucking performance-enhancing drug, at least for me. Like, as far as pain relief and getting in the zone, like, it was awesome for me. But everything kind of melted away, and I thought about my buddy in the car trying to set things up for us. I thought about my buddy who was right next to me, pumping, helping me drink water and making me, remind me of what's important right then. And I thought of my wife, and I thought of my kids, and I thought of the people out there who were supporting us. And I'm like, whoa, I guess there's other stuff that matters. Yeah. And I'm going to figure that out. But right now I'm helping people, so something matters to me. And I got the things that matters most around me.
Yep.
It made life real simple for me in those moments. And when I came out of my bubble, like today, like getting on, I was like, ooh, I almost want to go back to trail life. Like, they're like, oh, this bullshit's going on and this bullshit's going on. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you know what's bullshit? When you have to get back on your bike after lunch. Right. Like living when that was your main thought process is, okay, the next thing is we got to make sure to get that butter, rub it on each other, and then we'll get down to the next stop, and then we got 10 more miles after that. You forgot about, my politician screwing me over in this thing, or this person fucked me over years ago, and I still can't quite get it out of my head. I haven't talked to my kid in 10 years, and I got all these issues going on. It's like, wear your ass out.
Well, and I think the other
wear your ass
side
out
of that,
and see how
too,
you think about it.
the other side of that is it really makes you feel, it's kind of a little kick in the ass to where you go, I'm really not that damn important. I'm gone for 3 days. The world's spinning.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
This Facebook bullshit's still
For sure,
going on.
yeah.
People are still complaining.
The stories almost haven't changed.
Right. Exactly. And I'm not
next man up.
Yeah.
Well, Tarasenko goes down, the Blues don't fold.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I've struggled with that because I want to be important.
I know.
I want to be important. I don't want things to keep going without me, really.
Right.
Like, that's why it was so nice to see the show struggle so bad when I was in Florida.
It wasn't that bad.
Well, I had a lot of people say, it was an awesome show last week. I'm like, what the a lot of people
just know I was slowly dying inside.
I think people like that.
Yeah,
I think it's entertaining for people.
Craig's not comfortable. That guy's always comfortable.
So yeah, man, I just what next? What can we do next to help people? That's kind of where I'm at now. Like, I love that. I love what we did. I want to sit in it for a minute. I want to respect it for what it is.
Yeah.
But now I want to think.
I think we're always that way, though. What's next?
Yeah, what's next, man?
Let's
go.
Well,
we know what's next.
Let's go.
We
got
know
the
what's
Washington
next.
tournament.
We're going to raise some money for Aubrey, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's as good a time as any. And this one, we get the... Steve and I are taking some jabs at one. That's what we do, And Steve was like, look, I'm just trying to do some good here. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, bud. I'm going to try and do the same amount of good in a third of the time. And I'm going to
without having to do anything.
I'm going to have a beer in my hand and maybe some washers while I'm at it. But yeah, go, do your thing, Mr. Fucking, anyway, martyr.
And I'm walking down the hallway like...
I am going to do my thing, and I'm going to have a story, and you're not.
As I'm going, could you not shit any more this morning?
Yeah, he's yelling at me because I'm pooping.
Damn it.
The day before I go, man.
on the road.
I go, the worst thing that could happen to you is getting diarrhea out here. And God bless
you
America
fucking put it on
if
yourself.
I didn't fucking get diarrhea. I had to shit 8 times, dude. And I'm a bidet guy.
Oh, dude.
So it was killing me.
Oh,
so
buddy.
Every stop, I was behind him going...
I'm like, Brian, get that water bottle. I'm like, the nozzle will actually do that. You're like, it's better if I do it this way.
It's better if there's saliva in it.
And he would just blow it out for me.
Bacteria.
So September 26th.
Yes,
it's
sir.
a Saturday. We're gonna raise. What are we gonna put the number at? We're
say-
usually
I
good.
would
We're always
like
good
to
at
say
10.
10 grand.
We're always good for 10 grand. I
Let's
think
do
we can do
15.
15. We got people coming from Kansas City. We got people
Kansas
coming
City,
from Springfield.
Springfield.
We got Aubrey's family probably coming up from Farmington.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
they're all in.
I don't see why we can't raise. I see you working. That was a weird drop at this moment. Okay.
That's what it sounded like in Trailor, didn't it?
Hola, papi!
Keep working, boy.
Guys, come out, throw some washers, or don't. If you don't want to throw washers, just hang.
Drank.
Just hang and drank. $30 will get them a bracelet for the day, right?
Yep.
A non-player bracelet. It's all the food and drink you can
Or
have.
you can buy separate. You can
or
go
you,
one to
or
one
you can
by
pay
one.
as you go. Or if you want to play in the
There's no
washer tournament,
restrictions.
it's $80 a team.
Yep.
$80 a team. There's some pretty good competition there, guys.
Very
There's some
good competition.
washer fucking throwers out there. So
Keep talking. Anybody that you know. Oh, it's the other one. Anybody that you know that likes to throw washers.
Okay. Was it? Okay.
No,
Anyway.
it's not enough.
Okay, good.
I just remembered I had this thing over here.
I know, that's all right. It's all good. Listen, we're gonna raise $15,000 for Aubrey. Let's do it. We're already $2,500.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, we're $2,500 of the way there.
$2,500.
It would help them tremendously. But the thing is more than anything, you just get to come and have like the most fun you can have in a day.
What we're trying, what we've perfected, and this is how you guys kind of inspired me with this shit, is how can we have fun and spread a little
And
love?
do good.
Because, yeah, it's like, oh, I don't have to just get drunk and be like, oh, I give all my money to a bar and then I drive home drunk and I fucking, whatever, kill a drifter, whatever. This is the way where, like, you can go out there, get drunk and be like, oh, cool, I'm going to throw $5-10 at Chuck-a-look. Chuck-a-look. Yeah, and then you're doing good.
Here's what I want to put out there. It's still available. We're going to have to move pretty quick on it. The VRBO across the street. If there are people that are coming in from out of town, I think this is the play. It'd be $80 an adult that covers 2 nights. So, and up to 8 adults.
It's camping prices.
It's $80 an adult covers 2 nights, and it's a nice little house. You're on premises. So Saturday morning, you don't have to worry about getting up early and driving in because it's a long,
rent it out so I can hang
it's
out.
a long day. We
Oh,
never
it's a long
end.
day.
It's typically 7 to 7 for us. It's about 7
absolutely.
a.m. to 7 a.m. And then we're gonna shut her down for a little bit. But there's a place that the house literally next door. I'm gonna be screaming Chuck-a-luck all day. So hopefully that doesn't keep you
ready
awake
for
from
that.
your little daily nap or anything. But well, VRBO, or you know what? Bring a sleeping bag to the club. Sleep upstairs.
Yeah.
Don't give a shit, whatever.
Brian slept with nothing last time, just curled up
On the table.
floor.
He had a sheet.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I
then
think I
he
had the
could-
AstroTurf that was hanging from
Yeah.
the Rana board.
Oh, that's what it was.
Took
Yeah.
that down.
Well, the last time we slept at the Spanish Society, he slept on a table, put a little sheet on him, and then after a couple of hours, he like walks over to the first air match that he finds happens to be Mike Lindner's, and he's
Right.
like, "Hey, I'm way down." He just like
This is my house.
jumps into the air mattress, and Mike's like, "Oh." Okay, because he gets like kind of C-3PO. He's like, "Oh, okay. I
Mike
guess
was like,
I'm not sleeping here anymore."
Dreams
All right,
really do come true.
wrap it up. September 26th, we're gonna raise a bunch of money.
I see you working.
Did you fart?
Not yet.
Yeah, you got a scorpion pepper if you need to.
I got a couple ghost peppers at the house. I was going to bring one for you today.
Grace, to answer your question.
That was a good joke, Brian.
This is mean.
But
Reading shit all the time.
After washers is typically a lot of. Yeah, so that's what the deal is. After washers, sing some songs, play some
Yeah,
Chuck-a-luck.
man.
We'll
Hell
win
yeah,
some
man.
raffles.
Thank you.
All right, guys, wrap this thing up, Steve-O.
Delirious again.
oh, you beautiful motherfuckers, man. The community that we act like it's not a sex cult. I've listened to a lot of podcasts. We are. It's a love cult.
260 miles of that sex cult.
Yeah, I know we did it, baby.
Game brothers.
Thank you, in so many ways.
End of the trail, Crawford's.
God dang, dude.
Massage
my.
therapist.
The thing that pisses me off the most is I don't have the capacity to thank and love everyone the way I wish I could, and I think the way they deserve to be honored for what I feel like they're doing for us.
Yeah.
That is the one thing, and if I can just keep doing shit like this, like I think it was Tabitha, the guy with Tabitha,
Mike
maybe?
and Tabitha, yeah.
Mike comes up to me and goes, Thank you so much.
Dude, he ran down the trail with me with your beer in
I
his
saw
pocket.
him. I saw him. He sprinted back up. He's a quick guy. He's quick. Yeah. So he comes, but oh hey, Ange. So then
we're doing a show.
We're a little busy.
We're almost done.
So then we hearing him come, and he comes up to me and gives me hearing him come was my favorite part of the trip.
Yeah, we know, Steve, but what did you think about him meeting you at the end of the trail? Hola, papi!
Well, when he met me at the end of the trail, and he puts his arms around me, and he goes, "Thank you so much for taking care of my wife." But he was talking about, I make her laugh all the time. He's like, you bring her joy. That's awesome, dude. And I was like,
he says he watches with her.
If I can keep, well, I obviously haven't hit a funny bone with him.
Yeah, he came and told me, he's like, dude, I watch you guys all the time. I love you guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, just hearing that, hopefully that's what I can contribute, because a lot of it, I know, like the things we do, we can't really tell. Like, it's nice having Dennis in here to see if some jokes are landing and stuff like that. It's nice to have an audience.
It really
when you're
is.
kind of shouting it into the void, you don't know. So it was really cool at the end when I called you and you're like, we're holding 100 people, buddy. They want to see if I'm like, for reals? Like, they really do care about what's going on. That's all I want to do is fire people up.
I was answering you on the phone while the live's going on, so it freezes the deal. And when I would come back, there's still 85.
Well, I could hear
people.
the phone call on the video.
Oh, you can? Oh, that's hilarious. I bet that's good to keep in my mind, because I definitely had
Like,
I had 3 or 4 more
idiots.
Trail of Tears jokes in me, but
oh shit.
Anyways.
Dude, real quick though, I mean, going back to the Crawford's house, when you walk into somebody's house and they say you can have anything that's in here, like they were willing to give up, I think, their own freaking bed if we wanted
100.
But they were like, hey, you can do anything in that refrigerator is yours. Just let us know what you're taking, because I don't know how long it's been in there. You know what I mean? Like that. It's just like they're talking to one of their own kids or something like that.
Jennifer Barrett drives up from Springfield, a 3-hour drive to be there to see you guys. She said she got home about 3 a.m. She brought her friend with her. Elise brought her a massage table so that you guys could have a massage at the end of it. Everybody had CBD ointments and native. There was a bottle of native hemp.
Well, we did it together. We were laying on top of each other, naked, doing the massage, double massage.
I liked it. I mean, it was good viewing.
Yeah, everybody.
I don't know how good it was. I don't know how good of a massage it was, but it was fun to watch.
I'm just like a layer of skin,
but
so
they had
everything
a whole
she did to me, Brian could feel it.
Out for you. Wolfie comes over. He makes a lasagna
gel.
for us.
Wolfie's lasagna.
CJ makes up some taco dip that was out of this world. We just just waiting on you hand and foot, and they got the spot. That front porch.
Their setup
that's a little slice of heaven, man.
Like beautiful people in a beautiful little setup.
They've carved themselves a nice little corner of the earth out. It was pretty cool, man.
I'm honored.
It was hard leaving there last night. Like it really was.
Like, when you guys said that, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was like, maybe we can.
The only thing was, I was dying to get back to just snuggling with Jen in my bed.
Me too.
Dude. Like that's. I was like,
I got home at 5 o'clock and just like was just happy to feel Missy's leg. You know, as I get in, I'm like, oh, this is
I didn't want anybody to touch me.
And you get in there, it's just some random dude.
Yeah, there's a guy
it's
just
the
laying
guy
there.
from the trail.
It was the fucking dude. He's like, I
Night
just rode to Kansas City and St. Louis for Backstoppers.
Night Riders.
Night Rider.
Wrap this thing. Hey, guys, Hoosier Prom, August 29th. Get your tickets. We sold a couple more tickets today. They're at HoosierSophisticate.com. $20.
Yeah.
$20. We're going to go to Spanish
We'll
Society.
keep you updated.
But it's, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Wonderful for everything.
Week
Thank you,
Friday.
Brian.
Well,
we did a lot of these.
Yeah.
They're on the trail, like, and then we
good-
get to a
good
certain
male
point, we'd be like,
handshakes.
we're doing it.
Jeff City. Man, that's a long way away.
Yeah, when we got to Jeff City, we're like, we're actually
Steve and
doing something
Steve
now.
and I driving home last night. I think you were out, Brian, and like, I was like, oh, we're at Tree Lore.
Yeah. We kept seeing the names of the towns
That
on
was like
70.
when we got back to Boonville from Raytown.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys came this far today?
Yeah.
I felt like I was driving for 100 years at that point. Like I was like, oh, bud, I got to get some. And luckily you're like, hey, maybe I can take a piss. I'm like, yeah, I got to get some fuel anyway. I got to get an energy drink or 9 in me. We're in Boonville. My God, this is where my day started. What the fuck? It was awesome. I'm proud of you fucking guys.
Thank you,
man.
everybody.
Thank
You
you.
guys, everybody, you did us all real
Thanks,
proud. That's the
everybody.
fucking South Side right there.
We did it all.
You did it all.
Sorry, now I'm starting to act like this.
I
ass now, dude.
know. I'm rubbing off on you.
3 days of that. That's all right. Rubbing off on me again.
Oh yeah, I was rubbing off all over you.
Oh, hey. Oh, guys. Craziest thing.
Breaking news?
There's some breaking news. We're going to have to cut to it. I'm sorry.
Craig Turner, Craig over my phone. Just go to HooserSophisticate.com, would you? Native hemp extract. Get a pro show. Check out. We're going to get less than $50. It's on full if you don't. Enter the code PROSHOW.
Just staring at you.
Guys, that's it. I'm done. I'm ready to go to bed again.
Yeah.
Sweet dreams.
Bye, guys.
Love you. See
Love
you.
you.